Okay, and we should be live. Okay, yeah, no, we are. I don't know what happened last time. For some reason, last time, like, OBS just did not want to start the stream, and I have no idea why. But I'm glad it was working this time. I was like actually like really worried about like, oh no, what if it stays broken? What if it's still not working on us? All right, let me just get this tweeted out that we are live. Let me just go ahead and get that link really quick. I'm trying like the Twitter option really quick, and it is not very good. It gives us a worse link than the other one gives. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Where is it? There we go. There we go. But I do have a couple of updates before we get back in to the game. Mostly just updating on things that we talked about when we were finishing up and playing Summer. Also, how do I? There we go. Okay, we're all good now. There we go. Tweet it out. Let's go. I just like to make sure like everything's working well. Everything's working well. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, no. A couple of things to what exactly did I was trying to remember like what we talked about last time. I talked about like the surgery and stuff. Talked about yeah. Okay, so the mice. There's not really an update on the surgery and stuff. I was just like, do I need to bring that up in this one or not? But I do have some excellent news, actually. I have some really good news. First of all, I recorded like an hour-long like gameplay session. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. And I was like sitting there, and I got to the end of it, and I realized like, oh my gosh, I just played a video game for like an hour, and my hands like barely like hurt more than they do when I'm not doing anything. Oh my gosh, those anti-inflammatory things actually, like, this diet I'm on is actually working. Oh my gosh. So that just made me really happy. Granted, it still wasn't like a super intensive game. Like, I imagine if I played like a super like action-y game like Spider-Man or like Elden Ring or something like that, like, it would be a lot worse. But like, I'll take my wins. I'll take my wins. I was playing Silent Hill. I played like an hour of it straight without like needing a break or like anything, and my hands felt like pretty good afterwards. And like, so I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe drinking terrible tea is like the way to actually fix this. Because like, okay, listen, I'm on my 4th cup of it, and it's just as bad as the first one. Granted. It's still not as bad as the second time when I tried leaving the tea bag in for longer. I don't know what it is. I don't know how you actually get flavor into this thing. Maybe I should look up, like, is there actually flavor to green tea? Because from what I'm seeing, the answer is just no to that. There's just no flavor to green tea. It's just water, which, like, again, is fine at first, but once it cools off, then it just starts tasting terrible. Or if you like leave the tea bag in for like 3 or 4 minutes, then it also tastes terrible. So I'm like, where's the middle ground? How do I get a flavor to this? Because I don't mind water, but I just feel like I'm doing something wrong. Otherwise, I'm like, why do people prefer drinking water? I mean, drinking tea as opposed to just drinking water. I mean, I guess it does have also like health benefits, like different things in it than water. So I guess that would make sense. I guess that would make sense. But regardless, I'm on my 4th cup of it, and while it's tasting bad, I'm starting to see the effects, which is good because, like, again, I'm not the biggest fan of some of the things I need for this diet. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of like tea or like salmon. I don't like salmon, and everyone gives me like the most shocked looks ever when I say that. But I don't like salmon. I don't like the way I make it. I don't like the way like my family makes it. I don't like the only time I've had like good salmon is at like from like a restaurant, and even then it was still like I'd rather just get other stuff. But when I took a bite of one from a restaurant, I was like, oh my gosh, I like this, and it was crazy. Granted, I'm never gonna like buy it again because it was like $20 for a tiny piece of salmon and some broccoli. So I'm like, I think I'm good though. Also, I want to put something in the YouTube chat really quick because I do feel really bad. I need to fix the YouTube chat. Is the YouTube even going? Yes, the YouTube is going. Okay, that's excellent. That's excellent. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put in something like, hey, I can't see this chat. Sorry, lol. Yeah, let's put that. Let's put that. I need to figure that out. I really need to figure out the YouTube chat. It's just every single time I've tried, it messes up. I can only either see the YouTube chat or I can only see the Twitch chat. I don't know why both of the chat boxes, I can't get them to work at the same time. There was one, I think there was like a few streams where like I reset it all up and I had them both working. I think it because it was like I think it might have been during like when we were playing Fears the Fathom, I want to say, because like there were some people on both and I was talking to both. And the only reason that's on my mind is because I've been slowly going back, because I want to get back into like editing and like making like actual like videos and like shorts and stuff, because like one of my goals is to like start posting like highly edited down like versions of like the streams that we do or like the series that I've done and recorded like on my main YouTube channel, like on the YouTube channel where I go live at. I want to turn that into like the main thing, I guess. So I've been going through, and instead of like doing like the highly intensive part of the editing where it's just like doing all like the zooms and the sound effects and like all the like everything like that, it's like right now I'm just like doing like here, I'm just gonna sit down, watch the footage and just do cuts so I can get like the best parts of it essentially. And like that's super easy because it's like literally like every like 30 to 40 minutes I click the mouse button 1 or 2 times, you know what I mean? So it's like very easy and it still feels like I'm making progress, and I like objectively am, so that feels really good. So the reason why the Fears of Fathom was on my mind is because like that was the one I did like a few weeks ago while I was looking through footage, and I was thinking, looking at like how did I get this to work? I don't know. It's one of the things I want to fix, but it's just it's complicated. I might need to get some technical support on that, but I'll get it figured out. But there's a lot of things that I want to like really buckle down and like get sorted on the YouTube channel, which oh, I hope you guys are proud of me. I've actually started doing different thumbnails for the Head Well Lost. I should have been doing that the whole time, but like that was when like the hand stuff started getting really bad, so I kind of lost all motivation to want to put in like the few minutes of extra work to like make the other thumbnails. I know it's just putting in a different number, but in like my like horribly hurt and depressed mind, I was like, nah, that's too much. I can't do that right now. So I just left it as like, here, I'm either going to put up thumbnail 1 or thumbnail 2, and we're going to leave it like that. For the last stream and for this one and the next one and the next one, I have the next couple already made, because I was like, I don't know how long this is going to go on for. I don't know how long it's going to take us to finish the rest of this game. So I'm just going to make a couple just in case ahead of time. Because again, they're all so easy. They're all so simple. I don't really go too extravagant with my thumbnails. But I really want to go back through and give like all of the Head Well Lost. I was thinking of like another series. I was like, what else did I do? I've also made other ones for like the Spider-Man streams that I just haven't like changed yet, because I don't think I've finished the Spider-Man ones before I stopped like trying with the before I stopped trying with the thumbnails. But like that, so I want to start going back through and giving them like all at least like numbered, you know, like they all don't need to be like super unique with like, I feel like a little lazy for this part, but like I tend to use like the same couple of like reaction images over and over, just because like it makes it simple for me, because like with it like making it beforehand, I don't really know what's gonna be coming up in the stream. I don't know what I'm gonna be feeling about the content we're doing, so it's like if it's like a visual novel, I'll put one of the happy faces. If it's a horror game, I'll put one of my scared faces, because like that's probably what my reaction's gonna be. But I do want to do the bare minimum of like numbering them, just so then people can see it at like a first glance and being like, oh, this is episode 3 and I don't have to read the title, you know? I want to do that. But yeah, and I also want to start going through and like doing like chapters and everything and being like, okay, here's like where I like talk at, like here's like the yap session before the game, here's the game, here's like if I take breaks and how long those breaks are going to go for. I want to go through and like make, because I really like it when content creators make their like content like, I guess, like convenient, you know, like if there ever is like a thing that you like want to skip or need to skip and they have it like laid out in chapters, like that's so nice, or like the thumbnails and everything. So like I really want to try and make my content like convenient and not like a hassle to watch or get into. I also want to go I also need to go through like fix the playlist, because I was really bad about that, because like on like my other YouTube channel where I just like record and upload, I'm like so good at like being like, oh, this isn't this one, this isn't this one, but that's because it's a lot easier to remember. Whereas like switching like all the settings for like every stream and then also needing to remember like the playlist, like that was always like the step I'd forget. So it's the step I would just simply never do. I would just simply never do it. But you know, I want to go through and fix that. I feel especially bad for the Head Well Lost, because it's like the longest series that doesn't have like a good playlist. Like a lot of the other streams we've been doing since we started doing visual novels have been like a lot shorter, like only a couple of parts long, whereas this is like, I think this is, yeah, this is part 10. Yeah, this is part 10. I can do math, I can count. So I want to go through and like give this one at least like a really good, like not a really good, just like a normal playlist, because I think I have like 1 or 2 parts in there, and then it'll skip a few parts, and it'll skip a few parts. So I'm like, I really just need to buckle down and do that part. Yeah, there's a lot of things I need to change and or fix. So, but we'll do that later. We'll do that later. Also, but in terms of updates about the whole mouse situation, I don't know if we got it. My grandma found a dead mouse out in the garage, and that could be the end of it, or we could have a lot more. I don't know, because I saw the guy yesterday in the exact same spot I saw him at the first time. What was I doing? I think I was, oh yeah, no, I was walking out to cook dinner because I was like, okay, I do like to eat and stuff, like before I like do like big recordings or like streaming and stuff, just because like I feel like once I start getting hungry and I'm trying to read, I'm like, I start getting like a little too tired to like be like coherent and like read well. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go like make some dinner because it's already pretty late and I'm gonna stick to this diet. So I'm gonna eat this stuff anyway, so I might as well just do it now. And then I walk out and I start turning the corner, and then I just see the little mouse zoom across the hallway, like that's like separates like me and the kitchen, and it stops. It stops in the middle of it, looks at me. We make eye contact. I think it flipped me off, and then it just scuttled away. And then I went, you know what, touche. You win this round. You can keep the kitchen for right now. I don't need to make food. I'm just gonna go do other things while you just do whatever it is you're doing. Ah, it's so fun. I love it. But since the fact that it was found in the garage and not in the house, I'm like, I think we got a different guy. I think we caught the wrong dude, you know? So that's fun. That's fun. But I do have my fingers crossed that we got the right guy, and I don't have to see that jerk again. Cause dog, again, like I talked about in the last stream, but I'm so not afraid of like a map. Oh gosh. I just jump scared myself. I had like my Bluetooth headphones. I have like a little pair of like those that like connect to my phone and everything, and it's like sitting like right under my mic, and like out of the corner of my eye I caught it, and it looked like when my mic is muted, it has like a little red glow to it, and it looked just like that. Like out of the corner of my eye, they were like layered on top of each other basically, and it just scared me. So I'm so glad that I haven't been muted for the past 12 minutes. That'd be real embarrassing, but also something I'd totally do. Yeah, no, I'm not scared of mice, and I do think like one at a time is like very cute. I understand why people have those as pets and everything, but like if it bites you, uh-oh, you probably need to go to the doctors for diseases and stuff. Uh-oh, if it like poops all over and you're gonna get diseases, because I don't remember if this is a real fact. So if you have a mice problem, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. But I think it's like not like touching a mouse that like gets you. I think it's like when they like start like pooping and leaving like droppings in your house. I almost said droplets, and that's a way cuter name for them just like pooping in your house to give you diseases and everything. Like, so like I'm not like scared to like touch it outside of like it biting me and stuff. I'd rather not because it's still probably like a, you know, very dirty and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I just hope that it's almost over. It'd be so nice. But I think in terms of updates and stuff, that's gonna be it. And it definitely has nothing to do with the fact that I just want to get into the game. Because last time, what did we do last time? We did so much last time. Last time was Francis and I almost tried to call them Dryden. Francis and Rye moved in together. Francis got attacked. Dry almost killed the guy. I called him Dry. His name is Rye. Gosh. Rye attacked him. And, like, I mean, not really attacked him, almost killed him. You know, there's a difference if you look at it a certain way. Almost killed the guy who attacked Francis. We learned about how Rye could get his head, and it turned him human. We started on that quest. We've gone on another tour. So, like, so much happened last time. So, yeah, no, I'm really excited to get into it. Let me just get this switched over to the other screen. Whoop. Wait, what is that? What? No, what? No way. Why is it working? Wait a second. Wait a second. I don't know if you guys see that, but we got a chat from me in YouTube in the chat box. What the freak? Hang on, hang on. Never mind. I can question mark enter. Is it gonna appear? I sent it. It just takes us. Oh my gosh. What the Cuz like it was during the first summer stream, I think it was, when Sai was in the YouTube chat and I didn't see his thing pop up, but I was like watching cuz like I was talking with the chat, so I would have seen Sai's chat. That's so weird. I don't hmm huh. I don't know. Anyways. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the game, I suppose. Womp womp. Okay, load. This is our most recent one, correct? Yes, I can. Yep. Yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Headphones on. There we go. Oh, also, I got a haircut. Can you guys tell? I feel like 15 pounds lighter. It was like the longest I've gone without a haircut, like, I think ever. It was like 4 or 5 months. Oh my gosh, it was so hot. It genuinely felt like someone turned on the AC after I got it all cut off. I was so cool after. Yeah, you guys like it? I like it, so. The flight goes smoothly, that is, minus the part where it's delayed for several hours. I was starting to worry that we'd never leave the terminal. Rai, who's used to jet setting all over the place, advises me to try my best not to sleep on the flight. It'll help with jet lag, he says. I hope he's right. I end up watching a couple of action movies back to back to try and stay awake. It's not much fun, I have to say. It's early morning by the time we finally touch down in Ireland. Oh yeah, we're visiting Rai's family. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot about that part. It's early morning by the time we finally touch down in Ireland. Rai hails a folk taxi to take us to the Dullahan ancestral home. Turns out the folk taxis sit around at airport pickup lines just like regular ones do. We drive for a long time, and then the car passes through some sort of magical barrier. I can feel the shift in energy when it happens, and then I can suddenly see a castle and a town where I'd only seen ruins as we were driving towards it before. Rai almost gleefully removes his helmet and stuffs it into one of his bags. He's safe here, in a manner of speaking. He's home. Now we've just got a brisk walk ahead of us to the central castle, where we'll be staying while we're here. I can't believe I can accept that so easily. A castle. We're staying in an ancient, magical castle. Will the wonders never cease? You're lucky to see some snow while we're here. It's pretty rare in Ireland. Really? I thought Europe was famous for its snow-capped peaks and whatnot. Maybe on the continent, but not so much here. It's much warmer than I expected, that's for sure. It gets much colder in K-City at this time of year, though we rarely get snow either. There's about an inch of snow on the ground now, though it seems to be melting already. The wheels on my rolling suitcase lightly crunch as I pull it behind me. We walk slowly, but it still doesn't take long before we reach the castle. There's a group of people doing landscaping or something outside. Some of them have heads, some don't. Just like Rai described to me before, it's not just Dullahans that live here. Seeing all these different kinds of people living and working together in harmony somehow makes me feel really happy. Come on, you're not gonna give me the grand tour? I can't help poking fun, seeing as Rai hasn't stopped to explain a single cool thing we passed by or any room we went through. Huh? Oh, sorry. He stops, looks around, and then wrings his hands together a bit nervously. There actually isn't much point to me giving you the tour. The layout and look of the castle aren't really fixed. Like it's constantly like moving around and stuff, like the rooms or something are constantly changing. What do you mean not fixed? So rooms just move around? Oh no, not like that. Not literally. I mean, you can't get lost here. The hallways will naturally take you to where you need to go. You must be able to see my I'm just struggling with that word. I know what it is, I promise. Incredulity. There we go, there we go, there we go. Because he adds, not instantly, we still got a bit of a walk. I can't tell if this sounds like a convenient thing or not. Most magic isn't really meant to be convenient. Usually it's just someone with power trying to show off as much as they can within their bounds. And you can bet your life that the folk who built this castle and imbued it with magic were really flexing. Good to know, I think. Anyway, you'll see what I mean here in a bit. This is our room. We finally stop at the end of the hallway, and Rai gestures towards the door. How do you know it's this one? I just know. Doesn't it feel right? You want to go in here, don't you? Whereas you were perfectly okay with passing by all those other doors. Oh, hello there. How's it going, Lore? Yeah, we've gotten like so far in. I was just like giving like the recap of what we did last time. I was like, oh my gosh, we've covered so much ground last time. So like we're like really in it. I'm just like, that's one of the reasons like I was doing the Yap session at the beginning and I was like, I need to get into this. I can't keep putting it off. I just want to keep seeing where this is going. So yeah, no, we've made a lot of progress. But how are you doing? Also, perfect time for a water break. I'll bet it. I have to lean in because I have bad eyes, but that is an adorable little guy you put in. I broke my neck trying to see it. Oh, that's a cute little guy. I'm good. Happy to catch you live for a change. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. It's really awesome to have you here. Also doing a little bit of a posture check. There we go for myself. Because I felt myself shrimping up. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you being here live. That's so cool of you. I was actually like thinking like, I feel like the schedules are just like so hard to like get in line with like watching other people like stream. Like whenever it's like, oh, I really want to watch this person, they're conveniently streaming at all the times I can't do it. That sucks. So it's like, I totally get that. So like, that's how I was feeling about like, I think you were streaming Astro Prism yesterday. It was, but that was like right before I was like starting like a recording. So I was like, I can't watch this, but I want to, but that's what the VODs are for. So I'll do that. I know, I feel that. Also, time zones are always against me. It feels like, oh my gosh. Oh, the time zones. Like, trying to, like, watch anyone who lives in a different country, it's like, okay, if I want to watch this person, I'll have to wake up at 5 a.m. my time. I think I'm good on that front. I think I'm good. I'm just gonna watch, like, what they do later, you know? Maybe I'll catch them eventually. And it just never works out. Yes, I love having VODs for this series playing. Well, yeah, that's like, it's such a good time because it's just like, it's kind of just feels like a huge like audiobook or like a podcast, something you can just turn on while you're driving and doing stuff. So like that totally, that's where I like listed like most of, like my VODs too, is like while I'm like driving places, especially when I'm going to D&D because it's like a 20 almost 30-minute drive depending on traffic. So it's like, all right, this is where I'm just gonna turn on either literally an audiobook or a VOD and I'm just gonna go. It's so perfect for that. Also, you're back in like school and everything. How's that going? Also, I didn't realize how dry my mouth was until right now. But yeah, no. I've been loving where this is going, and I'm just so scared for Rai. It's one of the reasons, like, again, like I just like cut the Yap session short because I was like, I just need to see Towering Lol but good. That's awesome. I didn't even realize that school was back in like session for people until it was like the worst timing actually. I was literally on my way to a doctor's appointment, and the time I left was the exact moment that school got out for everyone, so I was just stuck. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna be so late. Thankfully, it was like the coolest doctor, and he was like, yeah, you're 20 minutes late. That's totally fine. I got your back. He was such a cool guy. Very curious to see what ending you get first. Listen, I have been the best girlfriend that this Dullahan could have, I think. So I hope I get a good ending. If I get a bad ending, I'm gonna be so sad because I put in so much work. But if it happens, I have to accept that it happens. So, but yeah, let's get back into it. Yeah, we read that part. ... Now that he mentions it, I do feel strangely compelled to open this door. Rai bows slyly. He's letting me be the one to open it, indulging me like someone who's showing their favorite movie to a friend for the first time. He's clearly waiting for my reaction. And so I take a deep breath and open the door. Oh. I just had the exact reaction Francis did. Wait, what just happened? Isn't this just our apartment? I turn around, but sure enough, the same hallway is still behind me. We're still at the castle. But through the door seems to be the living room of our condo. What the hell? Like I said, the look of the castle isn't fixed. This room is a reflection of what its occupants feel as home. Reflection? In other words, this isn't our actual condo, it just looks like it? Right, see how the cats aren't here? Okay, yeah, I see. Oh, and look at this, babe. Rai runs to the kitchen and opens the fridge to reveal neatly stacked layers of our favorite foods. That's not fair, including a box of Waffle House takeout. Okay, this is pretty damn cool, I've got to admit. I don't even care anymore that we have to walk through some arbitrary hallways to get here. What kind of magical powers necessary to make a place like this? I'm honestly in awe. Rai and I take some time to settle in and unpack, then it's off to the study. He wants to get a map of Ireland to use. I decide to bring along our super dog-eared paperback copy of All for Love, a notebook and a pencil to jot down notes with. It's a shame the study room doesn't morph itself to look the way we want it. There's a huge library from a certain Disney movie that comes to mind when I consider my ideal. I guess since this is a common space, it can't look too different from person to person. How would they guarantee the books being in the right places? Okay, you don't have to be so reasonable about it. I feel like that's like something that Francis says to Rai about every couple of episodes, I want to say. Every couple of hours, it feels. Even though I say so, I'm just messing around. Even if it's a magical castle, I guess there still has to be a limit to the number of fully customizable rooms. Especially since a number of them are up for rent. The study feels old, but in a stately, historied way. I've never seen the word used like that. It's befitting an antique magical castle. It takes Rai some time to scour the shelves and find the map he's looking for, but once he has it, he unrolls it on top of one of the tables. I peer down at the map with him. It looks somewhat similar to the map we saw at the Library of Congress. I wonder if Rai will feel something when he eyes the right spot. After experiencing that door and the strange magnetism it had for me, I think I understand a little better what that Dullahan sense might be. But the search is going to be real challenging from here on out. It won't be like walking through this castle, which gently guides its inhabitants towards where they need to go. Rai will have to go it alone. Francis, will you do me a favor? Okay. Every decision, we gotta do a save. I'm scared of what he's gonna ask, but I also want to be supportive, because that's been our whole thing. We're like, listen. Even if I don't necessarily agree with what you're doing, I will support you if it's what you want. So I'm gonna say, of course. If we hadn't set up like that, we'll like support him through this and be like there to like be with him through it all, then I would have been like, depends on what it is, because that's how I am like with most people who say that. But you know, we've got our boy. Of course, whatever you need. I have to support Rai in this. I realize now, especially after coming here, just how serious he is about finding his head and becoming human. This isn't something he decided on a whim, so whatever he needs me to do, I'll do it. Oh, I don't know if that reaction should be like scary or not. I think last time I got eyeballs in chat was we were about to see some cannibalism on screen, so whether his decision is more for me than it is for him. Could you really read the prologue out loud? I feel like I'm on the brink of something. I think hearing it will help. Oh my gosh, the music right now. Holy crap. It just like took me so off guard. It's so good. No problem. What flocks of critics hover here today as vultures wait on armies for their prey. ... Rai trails his fingers across the map in horizontal rows back and forth, scanning, seemingly waiting for something to pull him close and tell him, "This is it! Here it is!" all gaping for the carcass of a play. With croaking notes they bode some dire event, and following dying poets by the scent. It's here. Something. What? I feel something, like we're on the right track. He clenches his fists in determination. When you were reading those lines, I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like I really need you, Francis. Your voice, the prologue, it sparked something. Could you read those lines again? Maybe a little slower this time? Okay, you got it. So I read those few lines again from the beginning as Rai searches, and then again and again. As vultures wait on armies for their prey. When I read those words again, suddenly Rai begins to glow, just like he did that day. As soon as like the red went around, I was like, oh no, what is happening? Why is he glowing red again? That's only been a bad thing the one time it's happened. That sight triggers something. Floods my stomach with dread. It reminds me of the terror I felt then. The terror that threatens to grip me again, but I hold perfectly still. It's Rai. He never do anything to hurt me. It's here. His voice sounds more sonorous than usual, so deep that he almost sounds like a different person. Rai points his index finger at a specific spot on the map, and then the glow of his power fades away. I don't know enough about Ireland to know the significance of that place. For me, it's enough that we have an objective. I gently take Rai's trembling hand in mine. You found it. Let's go then. Francis, you'll go with me, right? Obviously. You think I came all this way just to wait in the parlor while you're out and about? At that, he chuckles and his hand gradually stops shaking. It takes a few hours for us to actually get over there. It's kind of the middle of nowhere, and even after we drive over, we still have to walk to the specific spot on the map that Rai's power drew him to. I'm so scared. I'm so scared of where this is going. Really glad I brought hiking boots for this trip. How did I know that there'd be hiking? We seem to be walking towards the ruins of some ancient castle. The walls around us are crumbling, seeming to melt into the hillside like nature's still in the process of reclaiming her territory. Just then, I hear a squawking sound above me, and look up to see a circle of vultures swirling around overhead. I stop and pull on Rai's sleeve to get his attention. Just like the line from the prologue. Oh, that was Rai saying that, whatever. His tone is reverent and filled with wonder. It's a pretty eerie sight, but it must have some significance to finding Rai's head, right? The two of us walk towards the kettle of vultures. That is, towards whatever it is they're circling around. Apparently this place was once an ancient battleground. Really? How do you know? Before we set out, I looked this place up to see if there was anything interesting or important about it. There's not that much information since it happened so long ago, but there were two clans that had some kind of territory dispute. This was the site of their last battle. Who won the dispute? Oh, I have no idea. I don't know if the who was important, just what happened. Even though I think Rai should be more eager to get close, our pace begins to slow down as we approach the vultures. It's like he's in a trance. I make a few attempts to get his attention, but he's pretty far gone. Something must be pulling him this way. Once we're almost directly below the vultures, Rai stops and completely freezes in place. I take a few steps back. I don't want to distract him or anything. I see. There's a vision in my head, like a memory, but I know it isn't mine. Oh? What do you see? A battle. I think it's the ancient territory dispute I was talking about. They're dressed in armor and... Oh. Oh. What? What are you owing about? Don't just leave me hanging. The leader of one side. He's this big guy riding on a bright chestnut-colored horse. He just had his head cut off. But then he gets up and just keeps going. What? What does that mean? Is it going to be that Rai was that general or the leader of one of the sides? Ooh. As soon as he got the vision of going into the past, oh my gosh, was he one of the people who died on that battlefield? Because I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about Dullahans But so my brain's out theorizing is like, is that like how like they're made essentially? But also Rai has a mom and dad, like who are also Dullahan. So I don't. Suddenly my theory doesn't make as much sense. Like it could still be that and have another explanation, but like it doesn't make much sense unless there's a different explanation, I guess. Rai stops glowing and then suddenly staggers. I rush forward to steady him and keep him from keeling over. I think I understand now why this vision was shown to me. I was wrong before. The Who is important. It's very important. This ancient battleground. This must be the very spot where the first Dullahan came to be. Oh! Okay, that does make sense. That makes a lot more sense than it being Rai. Okay. Rai is understandably overwhelmed by the blast of memories of his ancestor getting their heads lopped off. After making sure that nothing else is happening, no other vision, no clue materializing out of thin air, we decide to return to the castle for today. Oh, I thought with the buildup of the music and everything, I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't gonna be the climax, right? Like the loading screen said 76% of the way through, so I was like, oh my gosh, what if it means like we've only seen like 76% of like the scenes or something like that, and like we're about to get the first ending. I was like, I wasn't ready for that, so I'm glad that it's not over. I'm glad it's not over yet. Any luck with the scrying? I've been reading and analyzing the next several lines of the All for Love prologue while Rai scours the map again. When my head starts to hurt, I pick up my writing to work on for a bit. It's been a long day. This technically isn't scrying, since scrying requires something reflective. I'm just looking at a map. Sure, but you're looking at a map magically. Adding the word magic doesn't actually make it so, Francis. I really feel like there ought to be a word for what we're doing. Magical research? Trying to trigger the visions? I've got nothing. Hang on. I'm gonna try something. You might feel a little funny, but I promise nothing will happen to you. Okay? That sounds ominous. Rai tilts his upper body up to face me, and then starts talking in a solemn tone. I really struggle with that sentence specifically, and I don't know why. Francis? Wait, what's your middle name? Too bad the solemnity of the situation is shattered by a sudden question. Elizabeth? Wait, really? Uh-huh. My parents really like these princessy sounding names. Francis Elizabeth. Nope. Nothing. Hearing Rai saying my name like that, it finally dawns on me what he's doing. Hang on a sec. Were you trying to use the Dullahan death trick on me just now? Wait. That's like where my head went to, too. Like, why is he trying to get our middle name? That's real weird. And then the fact that she also thought that, I'm like, Rai? Wait, I was only... Excuse me, sir. You can't just casually try to suck my soul out of my body like that. I told you I was trying something. Come on, you know I wasn't actually going to say it. Get a load of this guy and his folks' sleight of speech. Okay, I'm sorry. But believe it or not, that was a huge help. It just confirmed my suspicions. Huh? What do you mean? Normally I wouldn't even have to ask you for your full name. I would just know it somehow. But not only did I have to ask you for your middle name, nothing happened once I started saying it. Meaning I don't have any power right now. I can't use my Dullahan abilities. You say my name all the time. It would be a real problem if I died It would be a real problem if I died a little every time you said Francis, don't you think? Does this really prove anything? You know what I mean. It's not just about saying it. No. It's not about just saying a name. The intention's different. That means his intentions were to use the soul sucky power. Thanks, Rai. I get what he's saying, but it's still kind of unsettling. I know Rai would never actually try to hurt me, though. Well, the man's efficient. What else can I say? In any case, it's true. The feeling just now is completely different compared to when he faced off against that obsessive fan. Even though Rai only said part of that guy's name back then, he was glowing and everything. The very air was crackling with ominous energy. It was more than a little terrifying. But just now, I didn't see or feel anything out of the ordinary. Maybe he's onto something. Oh, yesterday I remember you started glowing when you found that spot on the map, and when you were having your vision. So you must have been using your powers then. Maybe now your magical battery, so to speak, is empty. That makes sense. This whole quest is to find my head, so it's natural I'd be using my Dullahan powers at some point to do it. What do you normally have to do to recharge? Rai ponders for a long time. I don't really know. What do you mean you don't know? They don't teach you this stuff in Dullahan kindergarten? Think about it. I don't actually use my powers very much. Sometimes I use magic to unlock doors and stuff, but that's about it. I've never been drained before. But your power must replenish on its own somehow, right? That would be in line with how the other folk operate, yeah. Not that I've ever discussed it in any detail with anyone. Why don't you ask your parents? I hesitate, remembering that Rai's been feeling a little awkward around his parents, especially his mom. Or a cousin or something. He hesitates and takes out his phone and dials a number. Hey Dad, it's me. I had a question. What? Mom wants to talk to me? Oh. Rai visibly wilts. I guess he didn't have any trusted cousins to call up after all. Hi, Mom. Uh-huh. Yeah, we got here just fine. Francis is fine. Yep, the room looks just like our condo. Homesick? Haha. Rai's mother's voice is sharp and rather loud, so I can hear her, but can't quite make out what she's saying. It's probably the usual momisms. What have you eaten? What are you doing? Are you properly treating your guest? I just want to know if there's anything I'm supposed to do to recharge my powers. I don't need another lecture. I already told you that I'm sure of this, okay? This time I do distinctly hear her say, bathe naked in the moonlight. It took my brain a second to be like, wait, what is that referring to? I was referring to, like, recharging his powers. Okay, that checks out. But out of context, that's just a funny thing for a mom to say to someone. Before she yelps and a deeper voice comes through, it seems Rai's dad has snatched his phone back from his wife. Poor Rai must be mortified. Somehow this whole exchange is making me feel much more at ease about meeting them, though. After he finally manages to hang up the phone, Rai sighs. So... Wait. Hang on. So there's nothing I can do but wait, apparently. Our power recharges on its own every night, drawing from the power of the moon and the... Okay. And the cosmos. I read the first line of like, well, there's nothing I can do. And then in my brain I was like, wait, why did she say that bathe naked in the moonlight? If that wasn't referring to recharging his powers. But then, okay. It checks out now. Rai gestures exaggeratedly as he says this. It sounds sarcastic, but owing to the limitations of his truth-telling, maybe it's not. You mean we're not gonna go out to bathe naked in the moonlight tonight? I mean, if you want to do that in the middle of winter, be my guest. Wow, what kind of boyfriend lets his girlfriend bathe naked in the moonlight alone? Talk about unsupportive. We share a laugh, and then I take Rai's hand. It'll be okay, so we have to wait around a little. What's the rush? Tell you what, how about we take a little vacation? I barely got to see any of Dublin. Is it Dublin? I'm uncultured. We can bring along the map and the book just in case if you're worried about it. Yeah. You know what? That's a good idea. It can't be healthy for me to just be dwelling on this all the time. Now you're talking. We decide to pack some essentials into a backpack and take a folk taxi back into Dublin to sightsee. Dublin? I'm gonna go with Dublin from now on. That one sounds better. It's been really nice going around Dublin and actually getting to explore. Going to New York has been great and all, but I had a task to do both times I went. The only places I really got to see were the library, the hotel, and Virgil's restaurant. It's awesome getting to just sightsee without any worries. Okay, I can't really say that I don't have any worries. The only reason we get to do this is because we've got some downtime waiting for Rai's power to recharge. So deep down, there's a strange guilt associated with relaxing. Like, is it really okay to just have fun when there's something so important we're meant to be doing? But it's not like we could do anything anyway since his magic has been depleted. It's weird. Slightly uncomfortable. It's a weird, slightly uncomfortable feeling. It's pronounced the way it looks, like Dublin. Oh, like Dublin. Okay. Dublin. Listen. I'm uncultured. What can I say? I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. Also, why is it's always my right eye that's squinty. Well, that is my right eye. It's on your guys' left. But listen, I admit my faults. I will never pretend to be something that I'm not. I can admit it. So yes, Dublin, or however I was pronouncing it, is a good way to pronounce it. Although I do appreciate the correction. So Dublin or Dublin. Excuse me. I turn around to see a young woman behind us. She looks nervous but excited, and she keeps staring at Rye, so it's really hard not to read her intent. While Dryden is internationally famous, people actually haven't been coming up to Rye since we've been here. They're still most popular in the States, it seems. It's been so peaceful these last few days that I honestly kind of forgot that I'm dating a celebrity until this moment. We were just on our way to get breakfast with hardly a care in the world. No, like the word doubling without the G. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. That makes sense. Thank you so much for that, actually. And listen. Even if you're making fun of me, it's totally fine. Like, I know you're not, but even if you were, it's totally fine. I don't mind. We're all here to just make jokes and stuff. But yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. Because, like, I was looking at, like, Dublin, like, the way you, like, broke it down phonetically, and I was like, okay, I think that's kind of what I was saying. But, like, Dublin, like, doubling, that explanation makes sense. See, this is why you're the teacher. Oh. You're Rye from Dryden, aren't you? Is it cool to take a picture together? Oh, sure. Are you a fan? She nods in response and Rye bows a little. Thank you so much for the support. I can take the picture. Why don't you two stand over there near the wall? The brick wall behind us is emblazoned with some artistic graffiti. It would make for an aesthetic backdrop. The fan hands me her phone and I snap a few photos of her standing next to Rye. After she checks the photos, she beams happily, thanks us, and leaves. That was really respectful and painless, wasn't it? It would be cool if all fan interactions were like that. Yeah. Fans that come up to me in person tend to be very polite. It's nice. That makes sense. Still, it's better if we aren't disturbed while we're on our vacation. Yeah. While chatting, we make our way to a quiet-looking cafe to have some coffee and a light breakfast. It's an order first, sit down after kind of place. What are you in the mood for? I'm really craving some scrambled eggs right now. Miga's would be the best, but I'm not sure how common that is around here. Rye tilts his neck to one side. Scrambled eggs are doable, but I think you'll have... this is going to be another one. I just said that word and I was like, that's something that doesn't feel right. You'll have to wait until we're back in the state for a side of migas. That one sounds better. I like that pronunciation better. That's so sad. Don't you Europeans love bread? Migas at its core is just scrambled eggs with crispy bits mixed in, with crispy bread bits mixed in. Whoa, crispy bread bits. That was so hard to say. It should be available everywhere. Rye just laughs. His helmet moves as if he were shaking his head underneath. Our turn in the queue comes up, and sadly, wait. Our turn in the queue comes up, and sadly, but as expected, migas is not on the menu. Shame. Rye and I both order something else, take our number, and then go have a seat in a quiet-looking corner. I could get used to this, Rye suddenly says once we're eating. Just wandering around with you, seeing how excited you get about new things, and living so carefree. We'll be able to do this even more once I'm human. No one would even recognize me. ... No! I hate this decision. No. No. Hang on. Because again, my whole logic with, like, being slightly against Rye getting his head back is if he's not actually doing it for the right reasons. Like, if he's doing it only because he feels pressured and like he feels backed into a corner about it, essentially. So that's why I'm like, my logic has been like, I'll support him if it's what he wants. So I'm not gonna say that'll be nice, because I'll feel like that'll be telling him, hey, wink wink nudge nudge, this is what I want. The eyes tell me that this is an important decision. Why am I using my mouse for this one? I have the controller, whatever, it's fine. But we're already doing that right now. I'm scared. But aren't we already doing that right now? I mean, sure, we have to take some precautions, but we're living well. Francis? If we ever needed to get away from it all, we could always go to another country where you're a bit less known. Look at how peaceful it's been here in Ireland. Do you really have to become human? I want to ask him so badly, but I feel like it'd be denying his wishes, denying the whole reason for us being here. I can't do that to him. I know you're just worried about me, babe. I get it. Thank you. That makes me feel even more sure of what I'm doing. I just don't want you to feel pressured into anything. Exactly! Me and Francis are on the same page with this, and I love it. I know, and I don't. Really. This is my decision, and I'm willing to do this for you. For us. As long as he's saying, for us, that does make me feel better. As long as it's actually really, really what he wants. I hope at some point there needs to be a decision to be like, is this really, really, really what you want? And then we can just keep asking him that over and over again just to make sure. Rye. Our conversation trails off once we get our food. After finishing our breakfast and lattes, we get back to spending the day exploring the city. After spending a few days in Dublin, now when that word comes up, thanks to you, I now know how it's pronounced, but my brain has to be like, wait, is this actually the right? Oh yeah, this is how you said it's pronounced, so that is right. We're about to head back to the castle. After checking out our hotel, we're currently standing on the street corner. This is about when Rye should be calling for the folk taxi to take us back, but he isn't saying anything. I turn and notice Rye standing there, spacing out. Is everything alright? Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking. He's been doing a lot of that these days. I can't blame him, though. Especially not with our recent downtime, giving him more time to think. This whole thing is so... I don't know, arbitrary? Like, who was it that decided that Dullahans have to jump through so many hoops in order to find their head? You're still thinking about that vision the vision you had. Yeah, it is like, was something I was thinking about, like, if like every... Because, like, I don't have the poem up in front of me like I did last time, but, like, if every, like, different, like, verse is, like, here's, like, you have to go to this spot, and then this other verse is, like, this spot, and then this other verse is this spot, that all, like, pertains to, like... It seems like they'd all pertain to, like, the history of the Dullahans in some way. It is funny that they, like, need to go down, like, this, like, almost like a goose chase of, like, you have to go here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then you get it back. It could also just be, like, to give them time to think of, like, hey, listen... This is a big decision. I'm going to force you to think about this and make sure that you're doing what you actually want. That could totally be a reason. Like, listen, if I was the god or whatever that decided that this is how the things worked, that's what I'd do. Yeah. I meant to ask you, how do you know that the person you saw was your progenitor? That's what we've taken to calling the man from Rye's vision. It sounds appropriately reverent, if I do say so myself. I just knew somehow. When the vision entered my head, I knew who he was as soon as I saw him. So it's like some kind of shareable ancestral memory, like a genetic memory. That's rad. Oh, but that's not quite right. This isn't the same as how birds automatically know which way to migrate for winter. You had to, like, unlock the memory. Maybe that's what this quest is all about. Maybe Rye has to keep unlocking more memories, more clues. Rye bows to show his assent. We're definitely onto something. Working with the prologue and the map together was the right choice. We're both silent for a little bit, letting that soak in. So, how do you feel? Recharged? I honestly don't feel any different. I can't tell. He sounds so glum about it that I really want to pep him up a bit. Why don't we give it a try? I pull the map out of my backpack and hand it to him. Then I take out and open All for Love to the prologue. Since we're just standing around, it feels way more casual than when we're poring over the map from the study. If anyone sees us, it'll just look like we're tourists taking a look at a map and planning out our next destination. No big deal. This reframing takes some pressure off of the whole thing. Rai partially unfurls the map and holds it open with his left hand. His right index finger hovers in front of the map, waiting. Ours gives himself for gone. Ye have watched your time. He fights this day unarmed, without his rhyme, and brings a tale which often has been told, as sad as the does. I do love that name, and almost as old. His hero, whom you wits his bully call, baits of his mettle, and scarce rants at all. He's somewhat lewd, but a well-meaning mind, weeps much, fights little, but is wondrous kind. Even though I have read and analyzed this prologue countless times, it still hurts my head a little to read it. My voice obviously sounds a little stilted as I narrate. Hey, same, up top, we're doing the same thing over here. It helps to pause at the end of each line, comprehending phrases rather than trying to make sense of the stanzas as a whole. Hang on, can you read the first few lines again? I feel a little tinge that went away the further down you read. I nod and flick my eyes back up towards the top of the stanza. I try to infuse a little more confidence and solemnity. Why am I know how that word is pronounced. That's one I actually know. I'm just struggling in my reading. And brings a tale which often has been told, as sad as a does and almost as old. I got it. It's Wexford. We need to go to Wexford. I think Rai was glowing just now. I was looking down at the book though, so I only saw it for a second. That's promising, right? I lean closer to Rai. I lean closer to Rai to look at where he's pointing on the map, as I've never heard of Wexford. Though, to be fair, my knowledge of European geography is on par with that of most Americans. Let's go. Meaning almost zero. Let's go, represent. I read enough literature to know some famous places by name, but I certainly don't know them well enough to point them out on a map. All that to say that maybe Wexford has more significance than I'm aware of. The town is pretty far south from where we are now. If we follow the east coast of Ireland, Wexford is almost at the very bottom. So, how far away is that? Rai's already looking it up on his phone. If we go by car, it's about an hour and a half away. Perhaps 2 hours if we get stuck behind some sheep being herded across the road. It's still early. We should go now. Like, right now? No time like the present, right? Well, yeah, I guess. No point in wasting a trip back to the castle. I don't know exactly where the castle is, but it's definitely not south of here, so it would just add more to the travel time and Rai's anxiety. A folk taxi arrives shortly after Rai calls for them. Come to think of it, it's been a different driver each time. They all look humanoid enough, but I know by now not to simply take anyone I meet through Rai at face value. Maybe it has been the same driver, but they changed glamours or something, who knows? Rai and I get inside the back seat, and then soon enough, we're on our way to Wexford. Kind of a shame it's the middle of winter. The sea looks so pretty and inviting, but it's way too cold to do anything. Yeah, I hear Roselair Strand Beach in Wexford is supposed to be real nice. It's known as the sunniest spot in Ireland. I look up the place on my phone and see a string of resorts along the coastline there. You're right, it looks absolutely stunning. Rai notices my regretful tone and pats my shoulder comfortingly. We'll have to come back to Ireland in the summer next time. That's really what I was about to say. Like, listen, guys, you can just... Rai's so rich. You guys can just come back during the summer. It's fine. I'm going to hold you to that. After that, I become immersed in watching the scenery flick by as we drive down the Irish coast. You know, I need to find myself a Rai, because I really also want to visit Ireland. It's like that. New Zealand's up there I'd love to visit. Those are like my top 2 places, I think. I'm trying to think if there's another one. And nope, those are my top 2. After that, I become immersed in watching the scenery flick by as we drive down the Irish coast. Maybe it's the grass is always greener on the other side effect talking, but I can't imagine living in a place as beautiful as this and then leaving it all behind to live in LA or whatever. Then again, Rai's a person with big dreams. Big dreams often require the biggest sacrifices. Same. So listen, it would be the nicest thing. Like, and everyone I know who also wants to travel is like, listen, dog, same. So I'm like, someday we'll get there. Someday. Not soon, but someday. After arriving in Wexford, nearly 2 hours later, the two of us wander around town with this map until we arrive at an ancient abbey that's mostly in ruins. What remains of the place, however, is quite formidable looking. Apparently the abbey was built in the 12th century, but there used to be a Viking temple in the same spot even earlier than that, I say relying on Google knowledge. I have to say that it's very humbling somehow to stand in a building so old. How many people have passed through these walls throughout the centuries? It's mind-bending. Even the oldest surviving buildings in America are still from, what, the 17th century? This place is almost 1,000 years... That's weird, but also so cool. This place is almost 1,000 years old, but it's still here. Rye bows. I had a layover in New Zealand once, so I got to see it from the airport. That sounds so nice. Like, listen. I know you only got a window view, but it must have been beautiful, right? Because like every picture I've ever seen of New Zealand, even ones that aren't trying to be like trying to make it look beautiful, looks so nice. So I imagine it'd look nice. But yeah, no, like ever since I was like little and saw Lord of the Rings for the first time, because Lord of the Rings was like in New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. That's one of the facts of like I feel like is 100% like sure, but might be wrong. So I'm like, I think it was there, and it's just the prettiest place like on earth. Like it's my type of place with just like nature and everything. Like they're like depends like what you think is pretty, but for me it is like just greenery, just like green fields and like big old mountains and everything. It was gorgeous. Yes, it was. Let's go. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so jealous now. I'm so jealous. I want to go there so bad. Oh, that was to the Lord of the Rings thing. Yes, let's go. I just like realized that I had like said that earlier. I was like, oh, that was the Lord of the Rings, I think. Yes, okay, because like I feel like that's like sort of like if you don't know that but you say that, you're just in trouble with like people, you know? Because like how could you not know that? Places like this have history, you know, and any place with history has a lot of strong emotions built up from all the people who have lived and died there. That becomes a power. The older the place, the more powerful. Over hundreds and thousands of years, sometimes they gain a kind of consciousness. Oh? So you're saying that this building is, what, self-aware? Like it knows we're here or something? Sort of. The elder folks say that old places with power have a kind of soul. Honestly, it's probably beyond our understanding. I know that's a whole rabbit hole that we don't have time to go down right now. But I kind of want to really go down that rabbit hole, I'm not gonna lie. Can you tell how much power the Abbey has? It's not my specialty, but I do feel a faint energy emanating from the Abbey outwards. It's not particularly strong, but it's steady. He turns around and I follow what I feel must be Rye's line of sight. From here, we have a pretty good view of the town. Rye starts pointing out different things. This used to be a toll gate. For some reason, my brain started correcting the first L to an I, so I was like, a toil gate? What's that? But no, it's a toll gate. This complex, I mean, these walls used to protect Wexford. After saying that, he turns back around and takes my hand, nudging me forward with a bob of his neck. We start walking through the ruins together, with Rye explaining various things that we pass. There was a family that used to live here. Every generation of this family would work as guards on the northern rampart. And then... How do you know about all this, anyway? I finally ask him, partway through his very professional-sounding tour. With how detailed his descriptions have been, you'd think that he lived here and experienced it all personally. Now that you ask, I don't really know. Some of it I looked up in the car on the drive over. I thought about that line you read, a tale which often has been told as sad as the does, and it made me think of war, battles. That's what the last vision was about too. But the rest? There's no way he gained this deep of an understanding in less than 2 hours. Well, the more we walk around, the more I feel. He pauses to recollect himself. It's weird seeing Rye struggle so much to explain something, given how gifted he normally is at wordsmithery. It's like this, Francis. Everything I'm saying is like old memories that are coming back into my head after a long time of not thinking about them. Like I've always known, I just forgot until now. But it's impossible for them to come from your actual memories, right? Earlier told me that you've never been here before. I know, that's what's weird. When we reach a specific spot, Rai freezes up. I recognize this posture, this reaction. It's like when he saw the vision near Dublin. He gradually begins to glow. I take a few steps back and let him be. I don't want to disturb him while he's in this state. Minutes tick by. I almost choke before realizing that I was holding my breath this whole time. After calming myself, I start to track the way the shadows move across the ground. I just need something else to focus on. Just when I start wondering exactly how long this vision's going to be, Rai teeters over. Alarmed, I rush forward and just barely catch him, my arms wrapping around his torso to try to support him. Upright. I already know from prior experiences that Rai is heavier than he looks. It takes considerable effort to keep him and me from falling over. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm sorry. Thanks, babe. Though he still sounds pretty shaken, Rai regains his balance. Once I see that he's standing on his own, I finally let go. A long time ago, Wexford was sacked by Oliver Cromwell. The name sounds familiar. Isn't there some song that goes, Oliver Cromwell lies buried and dead? I don't know anything beyond that, though. It was horrible. Thousands of people died, including civilians. Once he hits a good pausing point in this story, I guide Rai to a spot under a tree to sit down. He still looks very shaky. Even though it was a vision, the way Rai talks about what he's seen, it sounds like he was there, like he was having some out-of-body experience, not just watching a bygone memory. It's more than a little eerie, and it worries me. How traumatic would it be to witness the death of thousands, unable to do anything to stop or change it? Still, I know very well how important that this is to Rai, and he needs to process all this so that he can move forward. One of my ancestor Dullahans was there. She wanted to protect the people and killed a few of the soldiers under Cromwell, but they used up all of her power, and it was all for nothing in the end. The fall of Wexford was one of the last nails in the coffin, and Cromwell completely conquered Ireland not long after. He sighs, leaning down and putting his helmet in his hands. Was it all for? What is it all for? These powers, this life. What is the point of being a Dullahan when he can't even use these powers to protect the people who we care about? This isn't about the vision anymore. I feel Rai about to spiral into a self-destructive thought pattern, so I grip his shoulders and push him to face me. Rai, listen to me. ... question mark. Okay. Oh no, I hate how important every decision. I have so many pages of saves. Oh my gosh, I hate how important every decision's feeling right now. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna say you have to find your own purpose. I feel like that. Will that make him feel better? I don't know. Will that make him feel better? I don't know. Cause like, I don't know. Rai's seeming to really not want to be a Dullahan right now. So like, but I don't want to say that's why you have to become human. I refuse. Listen, I don't know what I'd say in this position myself. I feel like you have to find your own purpose is a good one, but I also am not picking this one. That's why you have to become human on principle of I don't want to tell him to become human. It has to be his thoughts and everything that like push him down that way. No matter who we are, we all have to find our own individual purposes in life. We don't get to choose what we're born as. We just have to make the best of what we've got. You and me both. I can feel him trembling, but I go on. That vision is just one piece of one memory. What did your ancestors do after that? I'm sure she had the same thoughts that you just voiced aloud. How did she grapple with that? Why don't you find out first? Rai quietly considers my words, but doesn't reply. Have you considered that maybe someone else already found the answers you're looking for? You're not alone, but don't decide how your ancestors felt without knowing the full picture. I doubt you're the first Dullahan to feel this way. Rai takes a slow, deep breath and gradually exhales. I see his shoulders lose a lot of their tension. You're right. It was just so intense, what I saw. I got tunnel vision. There's no need to rush things or start having an existential crisis, okay? When you put it that way, we look at each other and share a little laugh, dispersing some of the tension that I didn't even realize was there. We spend a few hours walking around Wexford and the area right outside it, looking around and enjoying the atmosphere of a quiet town. Rai shares some more stories about the townspeople. Absolutely no one comes up to us during our walk. It turns out that even without his helmet and outside of the Dullahan ancestral grounds, there are times that Rai can be out and about without fear of discovery. I don't try to force the conversation. What I can do now is give Rai space to think. A routine is starting to take form. Rai will now have to spend a few more days recharging his powers before we can have another go at the map and prologue. A specific line will match a place, and then we'll travel to get there, probably somewhere in Ireland. Then we do it all over again. When the gods, or whoever it is, created this task for Dullahans to complete, to find their head, I wonder what the end goal was. Did the Dullahans who tried this before walk these same streets and these same visions? If so, then for what purpose? Even though this is really Rai's quest and Rai's journey, I feel like I'm discovering new things alongside him as well. As we keep going, I just hope that some of these questions and doubts we have are answered. Let's go, Francis. She handled that so well. I think your heart's in the right place. Thank you. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to be there and do what Rai needs. I'm trying to have my heart in the right place for him. But no, Francis handled that so well. I'm not gonna lie, I was drawing up a blank on what I would say to someone in that situation, because, like, listen, no one's prepared to have to talk to someone about this stuff specifically. Like, no one has any idea, like, what that's like. But she handled that expertly. That was so well done. It takes a little bit longer for Rai's power to recharge after this latest go. We spend a nice few days just relaxing at the castle and exploring the surrounding town. Once Rai's recharged and ready to go, we do the whole song and dance with the map again. This time, we don't have to go very far. He who would search for pearls. Guys, I promise I know how to read. He who would search for pearls must dive below. That line leads us to St. Stephen's Green Park in Dublin. I love that word now. I'm confused at first about why a quote about diving would take us to a park and not a beach or something, but it makes complete sense once I see the lake. It's beautiful, isn't it? Especially right now in the winter. We're at the park on an early Saturday morning, so there's only the odd college student or power walking older women here. It's very quiet and still, allowing me to take in the sound of the wind passing through the trees and rippling the water. I feel so at peace despite the urgency of our quest. There's a lake near the castle too, right? We didn't get super close to it, fearing the water folk that couldn't work. Whoa! I didn't even think about that. Okay, fearing the water folk that could lurk within, but I remember seeing it on one of our recent walks. Yeah, ours is a real lake though, not a man-made one like this one. Oh, I didn't realize you were such a lake snob. Rai laughs, his helmet shaking. Looking at information about the park on my phone, I read that it was built in the 17th century, though it was closed to the public for some time so they could do renovations. I hope that today's vision is less intense than the last two. It should be just based on the location, right? Or is that too naive of me to think? No, Francis, I'm hoping for the same thing, just because, like, this is a park. I mean, granted, terrible things can happen anywhere, which is a fair point, but I'm hoping because it's a nice park and not like a fort or anything like that, or like we don't see any vultures overhead, like, or like the Abbey. Like, hopefully it'll be better. I mean, surely this is no ancient battlefield nor site of a massacre. One can only hope. Damn, maybe it was before they created the lake. I take Rai's arm and we slowly walk through the park. Like before, there should be a specific spot that will trigger the vision. When I feel Rai freeze up, I know that it's time. I leave his side and linger by a tree, playing the silent guardian, watching carefully. I almost cry out when I see Rai turn and wade into the lake itself, but surely there's a reason. Well, yeah, he's got to dive below to get the pearls, you know? Eventually, Rai gets where the water reaches to just below his knees. It must be freezing cold, but he doesn't even flinch. Hell, I'm cold just watching him. Thankfully, after standing there for a little while and staring across at the opposite bank, Rai quickly gets out of the water. I didn't bring any towels. Who would have thought this would happen? I pull off my scarf despite the chilly air and use it to help dry his pants. Another vision? Yeah. When he doesn't elaborate further, I know that something is off. His mood isn't like the last 2 times. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm sorry, I need to process this one for a while. It was a lot. I don't think I'm ready to talk about it yet. So something was different after all. Hey, you have nothing to apologize for. Take all the time you need to deal with this. I'm here if you need me. Thanks, babe. You're the best. Should we go back to the castle now? I think that would be best. I make up my mind to give Rai some space. I can't do much about us being stuck together while riding back to the castle, but afterward, I give him a wide berth. We enjoy a companionable silence for the rest of the day. I watch over Rai as he contemplates what he saw. He doesn't seem disturbed, so I don't think it was anything gruesome or sad like the last 2. He started getting very existential after getting that vision about Wexford. Maybe that's the kind of vision he's received this time as well. Rai doesn't seem traumatized or anything, just contemplative. It seems to be a problem of the heart, one that he'll have to come to terms with on his own. The next morning, I wake up very early on my own. For whatever reason, I really can't seem to fall back asleep. Rai's back is turned to me. He's curled up into a ball, almost falling off the bed. He looks so vulnerable. He has to deal with all this on his own, after all. My help is so limited. My thoughts, listen, Francis, you can't be saying that. Your presence, you just being there with him, I'm sure is helping more than you know. My thoughts are messy right now. I slowly and quietly get out of bed, get dressed, and decide to wander the castle on my own. I bring my bag and just start walking. The sun slowly rises as I explore. We spent so much time here, but I haven't gone off on my own at all. I felt like Rai needed my support, whether or not I was really doing anything. I still feel that way, but somehow this morning I just need some space to myself, to think about myself and process everything that's happened. As I pass through subtly different halls, I absolutely wonder if the things we've seen and the rooms we've passed through have been more influenced by what Rai wanted me to see. That was a struggle and a half to read. By what Rai wanted to see and not me. There we go. Did it. Well, Rai wasn't joking when he said that you can't get lost in the Dullahan Castle. Wherever it is I want to go, it seems to know. Thus, I make a quick pit stop in the kitchen where there's already a plate of my favorite snacks waiting for me. Such the perfect temperature. As I munch, I think about the Dullahans from the past and about Rai. Oh. The problem with this one is that I semi kind of low-key agree with both. Like, the problem is everyone else. Like, obviously, if people weren't, like, you know, if being a Dullahan was, like, more widely accepted, obviously he'd be, like, he'd be fine. I don't know, I'm trying to think of a way to word this. Like, he'd be better, he wouldn't have to hide, like, it wouldn't be causing, like, these issues that he's seeing, you know? Like, he sees, like, him being a Dullahan as an issue because others see it as an issue, and so, like, it's influencing and, again, pushing him into a corner, essentially. But the biggest issue is, like, the other half of this is that he does also just need to, like, accept himself, essentially. Again, not change for the wrong reasons. So I think Hence the dilemma. Yeah, that is kind of the point, huh? You put this here to really put us in a dilemma. But like, oh, what am I going to choose? Because with the other ones, the other questions that you presented, I was like, listen, like these are hard choices. But with like how I'm feeling about it, there is like a clear answer. But with this one, it's like, haha. I see. The dilemma here is hard. I think I'm just gonna keep going down sort of like the path of self-acceptance. Part of me was tempted to get out a coin and flip it, but I'm like, no, that would defeat the point. I have to make this decision. Did I save already? Yes, I did. Okay, good. Because this would be like, if I like missed out on this one and like had to like, it was harder to get back to this question, that would feel so sad. Because I want to see what the other one is, obviously. The biggest issue is self-acceptance. Yep, that's what I'm going with. I feel, a little confident in that one. As soon as I clicked it, I'm now rethinking it, because even if Rai accepts himself, it's not gonna fix the issues that he sees. But I also don't want him to not like himself. I want him to accept who he is. As soon as I clicked it, I was like, oh no, do I need to go back and pick the other one? No, we're committed. We're committed. You save so you can see exactly. But I'm gonna try and like go through like the whole game and get the first ending before I go back and see like other things. Cause like I don't think I would, but I'd feel like bad if I like went back and like saw the other choice immediately. Because like that might influence me, like, oh, what if I want to go with that decision instead for my first playthrough? Because I like getting like what I would like the first time I play through one of these. It's like that ending the first ending I get is like what I see as like my ending, and the other endings are just like more endings to get. That's fair. Yeah, like that's why I like to do it. So I don't want to be like influenced and pick the other one or anything. As soon as I click that, I can't go back, which made playing games like Baldur's Gate really hard. Dullahans are very similar to humans, and it seems like they even lived among them more freely before. After all, that one Dullahan lived in Wexford. They're human adjacent, but not exactly the same. They're set apart because of the lack of a head, which is nearly impossible to hide. But when it comes down to it, we're not all that different. Look at Rai and the music he writes. It resonates with so many humans and non-humans alike. I know that Dullahans might be hard for some to accept, but look at how my own, rather conservative family took it. Some differences are surprisingly easy to overcome. I think self-acceptance is the hardest thing, no matter what you are. I hope Rai comes to see that all of this uncertainty he's feeling actually has very little to do with him being a Dullahan. After finishing my snacks, I continue walking and the castle leads me to my desired destination. Absolutely nowhere. I walk slowly, taking in the artwork on the walls and the other decorations laid out on the tables and mantelpieces. Even though you'd expect everything to be antique and from before the 18th century, there's rooms full of modern decor as well. Walking through these halls feels like I'm traveling back and forth through time. One room is filled with the old, standing knight armors, and the next is a disco ball. That's rad. It's downright inspiring, so I grab my writing out of my bag to work on and sit down on a plush couch that's gotta be at least 100 years by my amateurish estimation. I let the world fade away and I focus on my creative work. From time to time, I can hear birds chirping, people working out in the gardens, all just pleasant background noise on the other side of the window. Together, but apart. Kind of like me and Rai at the moment, but I know that he'll be able to find his way. Francis? When I look up and see Rai and the room bathed in a soft orange glow, I realize that so many hours have passed by without me even noticing. Oh, Rai, what time is it? I got so caught up in doing my writing that I completely lost track. Probably time for, well, either a late lunch or an early dinner at this point. I nod and we head back to our room. Rai doesn't ask me why I went off by myself. I'm not sure what I'd tell him even if he did. The fridge is still stocked with the best leftovers of our favorite meals. I do notice that it's a combination of Rai's and my own taste, as opposed to the snacks I had before that were curated just for me. This sounds like the best spell ever. Whatever spell they cast on this, I need it for my own house. Nothing wrong with that, of course, just an observation. After eating, we're sitting on the couch. The TV isn't turned on or anything, we're just lounging. I feel like Rai wants to talk, but still isn't quite ready yet, so I just sit there with him. After a day on my own, I'm more comfortable keeping him company like this again. I think his anxiety was rubbing off on me. It's been hard just accompanying him every day, watching him struggle through all this while the only thing I can do is say stuff. It takes a while. I almost think about getting up to do something else, but then Rai leans over and rests against me. The vision I saw yesterday, I didn't really understand what it meant at first. One of my ancestors went to the lake with their horse and threw their horsewhip into the lake. They sold their horse to someone in the town nearby and then left it all behind. Dullahans are often referred to as headless horsemen. From what I know, giving up their horse is no less than giving up a part of being a Dullahan. So did they become human after that? Rai's smoke shakes as he swivels his neck to gesture no. That's the thing. He stopped using his powers and gave up writing, but stayed in Dublin. He opened schools and hospitals. People didn't even notice he was a Dullahan because he wore a helmet like a shroud over it, with a shroud over it. They thought him eccentric for sure, but he did so much good for the city that they just let it be and accepted all of his goodwill. Oh, I see. Why was I shown a vision like that? Well, honestly, the ancestor you saw in your vision sounds kind of like you, doesn't he? Huh? You wear a helmet when you perform as part of Dryden. Nobody knows what your face looks like, but you have millions of fans nonetheless, and they love you. What you write, it touches people. Francis. So just like that ancestor, you don't really need a head to do what you love most. You're fine just the way you are. Let's go, keep saying these things! Maybe if I keep saying it, one of these days he'll believe it. But I'm determined that this is the right thing to do. It's what I want. Right now. Thanks, though. Just thank you for everything. The fact that Rai had to add in that right now is very telling. He's struggling. He's not sure of himself and isn't set in this decision yet. I take Rai's hand in mine, 10 fingers interlace. It sounds like you have a lot to think about while you wait for your powers recharge again, huh? Yeah. Every time I think I found an answer, I get brought back to square one. Take your time. There's no need to rush. He doesn't answer, but I feel his hand squeeze ever so slightly. Rai just needs time. We don't dwell on this topic for long. We'll only start talking in circles if we do. As we settle in for the evening and find other things to do, though, I can't help but ponder our time in Ireland so far. It's so strange. This whole quest is about finding Rai's head. It's about becoming human. But so why does it feel like all these visions are about confronting what it means to be a Dullahan? 'Cause that's the point. That's the point, Francis. You understand. On Wednesday morning, we're walking around Dublin. I feel like I after you told me how to say that word, I feel like I'm still pronouncing it differently every time, and it keeps making me like laugh to myself a little bit. After Rai's latest vision leads us back here, we've been drawn to this area, but nothing sparked a vision yet. I was worried that Rai would be frustrated or upset by this, but he seems pretty relaxed. Maybe our conversation the other night helped. It's a shame we missed the farmer's market. I love the one here in Dublin the most. Maybe we can go next Saturday if we're around. That sounds like a plan. We make our way to the food market to have a bite to eat before we resume our search around town. What even is Rasher? What even is Rasher? I agree. The section of the prologue that drew us to this area was: drink hearty draughts of ale from plain brown bowls, and snatch the homely rasher from the coals. So you, retiring from much better cheer, for once may venture to penance here. To penance here, not penance. I don't think penance is a real word, but penance definitely is. The ale part I get, but what's a rasher, and why is it in the coals? So I looked it up while we were in the taxi, and rasher is used to refer to a thin, lean slice of pork loin. Okay. I guess that they put it in coals to cook it. But the word rasher makes it sound more like, you know, something that causes... That's what I was thinking. Something that causes rashes or something. I wonder what the etymology of the word is. To me, it sounds more like it comes from ration. Rye says with a shrug. That makes way too much sense to be the actual reason. You are, but it's cute. Thank you! We arrive at the food market by the time we're done chatting. Rye and I each get a breakfast sandwich, something easy to eat on the go. Just outside that stall, though, then I'm tempted by some nice Oh! I need to start finishing these sentences before I, react to them. Because I thought she was just going to say, then I'm tempted by some nice beeswax. Some nice beeswax candles at a small table nearby. For being called a food market, there's so many cute craft stalls in here, too. I managed to eat... Wait, hey, why did I say eat? I managed to make it out with only 3... Okay, I managed to make it out with only 3 new candles, but it's a real struggle. Once I know I can't fit any more things in my bag, we go back to hitting the streets of Dublin, looking for my boyfriend's head. So where do you want to go now? Do you feel anything? These days, it feels like Rye is just a big magical energy compass, spinning around and around until he points north. No, not really. Rye tilts his helmet to the side and lets out a long... He looks like he's listening for something, but after several seconds he just shakes his helmet sadly. I feel magic around us. It's just not leading me to a specific point like before. I know we're in the right place. I just don't know where to go from here, you know? I see. We're coming up on the end of the prologue of All for Love. So if there was a time for things to change and the process of finding each vision to change from our usual pattern, I suppose now is as good a time as any. If it was as easy as checking things off a list and following a map, I'm sure more Dullahans would have found their head by now. I take Rye's hand and tug down on his arm. I can read. It catches him slightly off balance, and his chest tilts down so that his helmet is closer to my face. I then lean forward and deliver a little kiss on his cheek. Aww, that is the side of his helmet. Oh well, I hope the gesture is appreciated if nothing else. Everything's going to be okay, Rye. You'll see. I mean, beeswax can be very tempting. You know, I've never been personally tempted by it, but you know, everyone has their own thing. So if that is yours, I will not judge and just accept. Because I can't say I've ever, you know, been tempted by it. Everything's going to be okay, Rye. You'll say, I read that part. Yeah, thanks, babe. I can feel a smile behind the warmth of his voice. The grip on my hand tightens, and then we start walking forward slowly at first, but then with increasing speed with each step. When we reach the end of the street and round the corner, however, Rye suddenly stops. What's the matter? Do you hear that? I strain to listen, but don't hear anything out of the ordinary, so I shake my head. Rye then pulls me to the left. After we pass a few more storefronts, I finally hear the sounds of a child crying. Oh? We eventually get to a little girl standing on the sidewalk. She's just bawling her eyes out, face red, wrinkled, and covered with tears. Rye sinks down into a kneel with one knee up and his other shin parallel to the ground. What's the matter? I lost my mem. I've never seen mom spelled as mem. Ma'am? However you would say that. That is amazing. She manages to get out between sobs. Oh no, when was the last time you saw her? Rye's tone is soft and soothing. You know, I probably should have been more soft and soothing instead of like, oh no, this is the worst thing ever. Rye's tone is soft and soothing, flowing with endless patience. The little girl, feeling comforted, finally starts to ease up on her crying. We were over there. She said we were going to get breakfast. I saw a kitty in the window and ran over here. Okay. In that case, you should stay right here. If you wander around too much, then it might be harder for your ma'am to find you. You did very well standing here waiting for her. Really? Yep. Tell you what, we'll wait here with you until she comes, okay? That way you won't be alone. Okay. I doubt the mom went far. It's fairly crowded in the streets with people trying to get to work, people on their way for morning coffee. I can't imagine her being more than a block away tops. frantically searching for her daughter even now. Sure enough, just a few minutes later, I see a woman barreling down in our direction with a huge, overfilled shopping bag on one arm and her cell phone in her free hand as she calls out for us, Sophie. Your name wouldn't have to happen to be Sophie, would it? The girl immediately brightens. That's right. How'd you know, miss? I think that's your, ma'am right there. I point down the street, but the girl can't see her mother from here, since she's so small. So Rai realizes, so he asks her if he can lift her onto his shoulders. She yelps in agreement, so he hoists her up so that she's sitting on his shoulders. Is that your ma'am? Yeah, ma'am! She calls out while waving and flailing her arms. Careful. One of her kicks dislodges Rai's helmet. Oh, in alarm, I reach up quickly to secure it into place, but the helmet rises up enough to where you can see the end of his neck for a second. The smoke billows out slightly, a small cloud seeping from the bottom of the helmet once the seal is broken. Maybe Sophie was looking at her mom and didn't see. But then the little girl stops moving, and that's when I know for sure that she saw it. She's staring right at where Rai's chin should be, her little mind ticking away. She's small, but she must realize that this guy has no head underneath his helmet. Gingerly, I help her down, almost tugging her from Rai's shoulder, just as her mom arrives on the scene. Sophie dashes towards her and throws her arms around her mom's leg. Ma'am! Sophie! Rai takes my hand. He's shaking. I can tell how afraid he is. Not even of the little girl causing a panic, but just of being rejected by another person. Even though he helped her, if she's afraid of him and disgusted by him just because he's a Dullahan. It'll be alright, I whisper before he can say anything. You'll see. I hope I sound strong. The mom starts telling her daughter off in a foreign language. I don't understand, but Sophie looks appropriately cowed, so I'm assuming she's getting a scolding for running off. The mom finally turns to us. Thank you so much for your help. No problem, we're just glad that she was found safe and sound. Sophie doesn't say anything, just stares at Rai with eyes that reflect simple curiosity, I hope. At least that's a step up from total horror and disgust, right? After waving goodbye, we turn to leave in a hurry. Wait! Erupts a childish voice from behind us. I turn my head slightly to see Sophie shoot towards Rai like a cannonball. She hugs his legs tightly. Thank you for helping me find my mem. You're really nice. Then she takes a few steps back and waves. So we wave back and then keep walking. When I look back a minute later, Sophie and her mom are still seeing us off with smiles. She had to have seen that, right? Yes, she saw and didn't care. To Sophie, you're just a nice young man who helped her find her mom. That's all that matters. Francis. Rai stops talking all of a sudden. Oh my gosh, this song. This slaps so hard. Oh my gosh. He tilts his helmet up like he's looking at something over my shoulder beyond me. So he's finally receiving the vision that we've been searching for all day. In all the excitement, I almost forgot about this. For once, instead of being next to him or standing behind him silently watching, I am facing Rai directly. I see his entire body go rigid as the vision washes over him. I wish I could see what he sees. I wish I could share this vision with him, see what fascinates him so. But I'm just a human. All this time we've been trying to make Rai human, but I wonder if the reverse has ever been done. Could I become a Dullahan? ... I think this is all getting in my head too much. Yeah, don't start thinking those thoughts, Francis, please. I think this is that would kind of be a funny twist. Francis is like, I guess I need to be a Dullahan now. All the while Rai's like, I need to be human now, and then at the end they just switch places. That'd be a funny little ending. I think this is all getting in my head too much. I turn and stare into the distance, focusing on the point that Rai must be gazing at. If I stare hard enough, I can almost see it. Francis? What? When I come to, Rai is behind me, one hand around my waist as if to hold me up. I called your name a few times, but you didn't answer. Is everything alright? It feels weird to be hearing this from him when usually I'm the one snapping him out of his trance-like state after a vision. How long was I like that for Rai to look so worried? Yes, I'm fine. Sorry. I just zoned out for a while, I guess. Rai bows. I understand. It's been a long morning. Why don't we head back to the castle for now? I mean, he seems fine. I'm curious about what he saw. Like, if he doesn't want to tell me, then he can say it. But like, he doesn't seem like too thrown off by anything, so I'll just ask him what he saw. What did you see? Rai shakes his helmet. I'll tell you when we get there. Fair enough. See, exactly just like that. As soon as I nod my head, Rai calls the folk taxi over. The trip back to the Dullahan ancestral home is quiet. Rai seems to be mulling over his vision. I've got a lot on my mind too, and I'm in no mood to disturb him. I think about what happened today with Sophie and her mother. I hope that Rai could take something positive away from that whole experience. As half of Dryden, he already has such a huge impact on other people, but I know it's hard for him to really understand that, especially since he's always wearing his helmet at live performances and among fans too. To them, he's human, a quirky human who doesn't want his face to be shown, but that can be chalked up to a desire for privacy or some eccentricity. But to Sophie, Rai is not only someone who helped her in a perilous moment, he's also a Dullahan. Well, maybe she doesn't understand the specifics, but at the very least she saw him for what he truly is, and embraced him anyway. That's huge. I just hope that Rai can see that, and that he's still capable of changing his mind. Rai's mood is pretty normal when we get back to the castle. He doesn't bring up his visions, but we spend time together anyway, instead of him mulling things over on his own. We even play several rounds of Mario Kart. I completely forget about the fact that we haven't discussed his visions until evening falls. As we're eating dinner together, Rai brings it up. So, about the vision I had today. Oh yeah, how was it? What did you see? It was really nice, to be honest. It was more upbeat than the other ones. There was a Dullahan riding down the city street. Not here though, it looked different. So I'm not sure why the vision was triggered here in Dublin. Rai wrings his hands together, constantly adjusting them and squeezing his fingers. I guess there was a battle or something. She successfully defended the city from attackers, so there was a parade to celebrate her victory. Everyone was cheering. He paused for a long moment. She wasn't wearing her helmet. Everyone could see that she had no head, but she proudly paraded down the street anyway. Everyone looked so happy. The vision sounds so beautiful. Acceptance, self-love, approval from the community around her. What could be better than that? That's something even we humans crave. My imagination conjures up a beautiful image of what Rai must have seen. It fills me with the courage to finally say what I've been thinking for weeks. Rai, listen to me. There's a lot you can accomplish as a Dullahan, not in spite of being a Dullahan. Do you understand the difference? Francis. I think I finally understand the point of all these visions now. From the first, these visions have been practically a textbook case of Dullahans, 5 stages of grief, from anger all the way to acceptance. Oh, that's really cool. The gods, your Dullahan ancestors. I become more sure of it the more I speak. What they want you to see is that there is a meaning in being a Dullahan. There are things only a Dullahan can do, and even though they are giving you the opportunity to give it all up, they hope that you'll see these visions, be moved, and won't go through with it. Rai is silent for a long time after that. I can tell that he's taking what I say seriously, because if he was going to be stubborn about it, he would have retorted right away. Francis. He says my name softly and gently takes both of my hands in his. I can tell that you don't want to pressure me, and that you want what's best for me. I'm so glad that you're with me, and I appreciate you so much. But I want to do this. I couldn't imagine making this decision for anyone else. You are worth anything. I catch that he says, I want to do this, and not, I want to become human. Specifically, nimbly dodging getting caught in a pact and forced to stick to a decision. I decide not to draw attention to it. He's still on the fence, and that's okay. If I have to force him into accepting himself as a Dullahan, that's just as bad as me forcing him to become human. So I say, you shouldn't be making this decision for me. You should be making this decision for you. But if you're not happy and comfortable, I can't be. I laugh, shaking my head. You're impossible. I know, but you love me anyway, don't you? I put down my fork and move to sit next to him. Yup, you're stuck with me, I'm afraid. Oh, am I? Rai's tone is playful, maybe even a little suggestive. Yup. Pushing up slightly from the couch, I lean up and over to give Rai a little peck where I expect his cheek should be. As I'm about to pull away, Rai puts his arms around me and pulls me in closer for a kiss. I feel that familiar, floating feeling as I'm enveloped by his piney, smoky scent. And then I'm actually floating. Oh, Rai's lifted me up. Oh, I thought he was unveiling some, like, new power right there. Like, I can also make people levitate. And, like, I was like, okay, well, that's a random time to do that, I guess. I wrap my arms around his neck in an attempt to steady myself and keep from falling, even though I know there's no way Rai would drop me. And then fade to black? Question mark. Not yet. He takes what feels like 4 steps, and then we're in the Dullahan's castle facsimile of our bedroom. Rai gently lowers me into the bed, and I sink into the soft sheets. As he pulls away, Rai trails of smoke up the side of my neck, lingering for a moment in the hollow of my throat. Francis, I want you. Oh? I mean, I'm gonna save here, obviously. This is the most important decision in the entire game. Come on, come on, come on. What happens if I... Because I have the scenes turned off. What happens if I click I want you too? Let's see. Let's see. I mean, I don't have those scenes turned off. I just don't think I have them downloaded. My hands are at his shoulder blades, and I pull him down and closer to me before whispering, I want you just as much. The Irish winter wind blows through the trees outside our window, but inside our room, only the dizzying, heady scent of spring captivates us. And then fade to black. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Minutes pass by like seconds, and at some point I must have fallen asleep, because it feels like I blink, and then suddenly I'm surrounded by darkness. What time is it? I must have dozed off for a while after that. After that exercise, I'm laying on my stomach, and I never sleep like that normally. I pull my body up, and Rai's arm slides off from where it was resting on my back. I turn and look at him to see his chest rising and falling slowly in slumber, a smile on my face. I tuck his arm under the blanket and then slowly get out of bed. Feeling a little chilly, I throw on some clothes and I'm about to crawl back under the covers when I see a light outside the window. I can't help my curiosity. I tiptoe over to the window and have a look outside. At first, I see nothing. The light I thought I saw is nowhere to be seen. But then... Oh? Oh, that looks awesome! Oh my gosh! That looks incredible. There it is. In the light, there's someone on horseback riding by the castle. As they get closer to my window, I finally see that they're a Dullahan in a full suit of armor. They don't seem to notice me watching them as they continue riding past, down the dirt road and into the distance. Just as they're about to leave my range of vision, the Dullahan disappears in a bright flash of light. Gone. I don't know how I can be sure of this, but I just know that what I've seen is a vision, the same and just as clear as the one Rai has been seeing since coming to Ireland. But I'm not a Dullahan. This isn't my quest. Why show this to me? What does it mean? I think back to how majestic that Dullahan looked as they rode by, cape blowing in the wind as they faced the road ahead without looking back. I'm sure the Dullahan in the parade where I spoke of looked just as regal. That's a Dullahan, that's for sure. That's a Dullahan that's sure of themselves and where they want to go. Isn't that just what I want for Rai as well? Francis? I love, like, it's been a while since I've talked about this. I just love the way Rai Smoke changes with, like, his emotion, like, to the question mark of the heart. It's, like, the cutest thing. I turn and see Rai half up, one arm laying on my side of the bed. He must have reached out for me and woken up when he sensed that I wasn't there. I quickly get back into bed next to him. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you. I just saw something magical. Oh? I animatedly describe what I just saw. Rai seems genuinely taken aback. You really saw that? Yeah, it was pretty damn inspirational. I don't elaborate more than that. I already said my piece earlier. Hammering it in won't help him come around. Whatever happens with the last clue, it'll be Rai's decision and I'll support him on that. Are all Dolahans obsessed with riding? You've seen so many visions of them on horseback, and even I saw one tonight. More or less. It's a part of who we are. Riders. Now that we're in the 21st century, our ride has had to upgrade too. I hope my lack of a horse doesn't disappoint you. Well, you've got a Porsche instead, and it's got tons of horsepower. I guess that'll have to do. A comfortable silence settles between us for a while, but neither of us seems able to fall back asleep. So there's only 4 lines left of the prologue. Wherever we go next, that must be the last place. Oh, that was Francis saying that. Whoopsies. Yep, that would make sense. Do you think finding your head is, like, symbolic? Or are we literally going to find it sitting on a bench? I'm really hoping that it's not the latter. I'd probably freak out. But I don't really know. I haven't heard of what happens once a Dolahan's head is finally found. I see. I wish we knew more about it. Just so we can know what we're getting ourselves into. Yeah, but you'll be with me no matter what happens, right? I roll over to lay on my side facing him. I reach a hand over to sort of cup the side of his smoke cloud. I hope it feels comforting. Of course, Rai. No matter what, I'm here. No matter what decision I make in the end? Yes. I just hope you'll consider what's best for you, not just what you think I want. I can't be happy if you have to sacrifice yourself for us. Francis. Thank you. Thank the gods that you're here with me. He pulls me closer. I wrap my legs around his and find a comfortable position nestled in his arms and against his chest. Eventually, despite all the different things we must be thinking, we drift off to sleep again, each anticipating the final location. I didn't even think about that after the last one that we found, that we were like, how many we had gone through. It takes a little longer for Rai's power to recharge this time. I wonder if the vision I saw drained some of his magic too somehow. I can't imagine the amount of power necessary to make it so that a normal human like me could see a vision, but I've drawn so much strength from it. I feel like we're going in the right direction, like our hearts are in the right place. And since that... Oh no. I know this word, but I'm blanking on it. Plenteous autumn now is past, whose grapes and peaches have indulged your taste. Take a good part, and from our poor poet's board, such reveled fruits as winter can afford. I'm so good at reading. There are only these 4 lines left of the prologue, for all of love. So this should be the end. Unless things suddenly take a turn and we have to go somewhere else for each line left, but surely not, right? Apparently reveled means shriveled. Dryden is comparing his own poetry to that of other famous poets, saying that this play is more of a shriveled winter fruit. I was so bothered by that word and unsure of how to pronounce it that I finally looked it up. A humble prophetic text for a humble Dolahan. Rai is never so self-deprecating about his music, but still, it's very fitting somehow. He is rather unassuming. Yep, it's close. Oh, I'm simultaneously like so nervous but so excited. I'm so excited to see like how it turns out. Like I'm more excited than nervous, what I'm trying to say. But I'm so ready for it. Rai chuckles, tilting his neck side to side as he continues scanning the map with his hands. Oh, I think I felt a surge of energy when you said the last line. Francis, could you read that part again? Sure. I do so, and Rai is finally able to stop on a spot on the map. There's a long pause before he says, "Oh, hang on. I need to see where exactly this is." His reaction's different from usual. Rai pulls up a map on his phone to compare with the paper map we've been using. Okay, this is confusing. Why? What's wrong? It's pointing us to Mulrines. It's an apple orchard. Do apples grow in December? I feel kind of stupid even as I ask, but who knows? The winters here aren't that strong, so maybe apples do grow in December here. Rai mulls over this for a while, doing some quick research on his phone to see. While apples are available here in winter, I don't think they're literally growing on trees right now. Still, there's gotta be a reason that we're being guided there. I nod. Wow. This really must be the last clue since it was just activated by the last line. Or maybe it won't be just a vision this time. Well, shall we go then? I gotta say, I'm gonna miss these adventures a little. Yeah. Rai looks a little hesitant. Maybe he's still thinking about the conversation we've had, especially a few nights ago. It's been a very eventful time, to say the least, being led this way and that like heroes on some epic quest. And, I mean, it really has been an epic quest of finding a Dullahan head, hasn't it? I hope this is the last one, for your sake, and that we don't find your head on a bench somewhere at the orchard. It's just hanging from the tree like an apple. My little joke seems to breathe some life and confidence back into Rai, who finally rises from his seat. Alright, let's go. It's not far, only 25 kilometers from here. Excuse me, can you say that in freedom units, please? Can you put that in American units for me? This seems to catch Rai off guard, because he burst out laughing for real this time. What? Is it really that funny? I'm more surprised you would even use kilometers. I thought you'd been thoroughly Americanized by now. You're right, you're right. I have no idea why this is so funny to me. Your reaction just caught me off guard. Plus, you calling them American units is so... Rai gradually gets those words out between guffaws. Yes, guffaws. He's laughing so hard he's clutching his stomach. Stop that. God, never mind. I'll just look it up on my own. I turn away in a huff, pulling up my phone, but Rai wraps his arms around me from behind. Don't pout. 25 kilometers is about 15 miles. Or maybe 16? Anyway, it's less than 20. See, you don't even know it yourself, but you're laughing at me. I never said that I knew. I just thought your reaction was cute. I can feel his smoke and whiffs at my ears, against my neck. It's ticklish. Rai, are we going or not? Alright, I'll go call for the taxi. Okay, I'll go grab some snacks and pack a bag while you do that. We're not going on a picnic, you know. Chuckling, Rai ruffles my hair affectionately and then walks off. I think that was the opposite people were saying that. And then walks off to go call the folk taxi. I got a better look at the scenery outside this time as we drive. I was so focused on the task at hand before, but this area right outside the Dullahan ancestral home is so beautiful. The barrier makes it look like there's nothing but mountains and ruins, but even that illusion is so beautiful that I don't know how people still stumble in unawareness. Still don't stumble in unawares. No one's ever come over here to try and excavate these ruins or anything. Nah, the barrier's not just for show. No one can come in without the goodwill of a Dullahan. They won't even want to. The barrier gives off a sort of neutralizing energy. So it's not so much keep away as it is, why would you want to come here? Don't even look. I've never heard it phrased that way, but sure. It's barely half an hour and we can already spot the orchard on the horizon. From far away, I can see only the color green. Apples must not grow in winter after all. Suddenly, I feel Rai tense beside me. What's wrong? There's a barrier here too. What? How can that be? Oh, Din. You know part of this area be folk-owned. You know part of this area be folk-owned. There's a human orchard, but a folk want to top it. The cabbie suddenly speaks up. None of our cabbies up until now have uttered a word, so I can't help but flinch. Sorry, we're beholden to silence, but didn't want any cause for alarm. What does he mean by a top? Is it like floating above or something? I see. I didn't know of it. Thank you. So the spot I showed you on the map... Aye, we'll be going through the barrier to get there. So far as humans are concerned, there's just Boglin there, but you'll see differently. When the orchard is right before us, the cabbie veers left and I feel the same shift in energy that happens every time we approach the castle. The landscape before us shifts and the Bogland becomes nearly endless rows of apple trees. Ooh! Oh, I love this. The driver drops us off at the orchard. Despite it being mid-December, here it feels like spring. Oh. Every single song that keeps getting played is just like, oh, this is so good. As far as the eye can see, there are rows and rows of apple trees, each overflowing with ripe red apples. So, this is it, huh? I guess so. This place is dripping with magic energy. It's so quiet here. I can't hear any birds, nor is there any wind. I wonder if that's because there's magic involved. My hand finds Rise, and we walk through the orchard hand in hand. When we get hungry, we pause to each pluck an apple from the tree. Holy crap, this is the sweetest apple I've ever tasted in my life. Really? Rai pops the apple into a smoke cloud, and I watch it slowly disintegrate. Whoa, you weren't kidding! I don't think I've ever eaten more than one apple at once before, but I find myself reaching for another one, and soon I've eaten 3. I hope this... I was literally about to say, I hope this isn't a forbidden apple sort of situation. I was gonna say, like, watch it be like, sort of like a forbidden apple, or like a... What is it, like the Garden in Hades kind of situation, where like if you take an apple and eat from the Hades, like, oh no, now you're trapped in Hades. Well, not necessarily apples, but I think if you eat anything while you're in the underworld, you're like trapped there. So I was like thinking that kind of situation. I was like, please don't be that. I can't help feel... Whoa, that was weird. Oh, it went back. Oh, I didn't know my controller could do that. Oh my gosh, wait. Oh, that's cool. I can't help feeling relieved when no one comes to yell at us for eating the apples, though. But after more than an hour of walking, we still haven't found anything. This reminds me of the hallways in the castle. It looks the same no matter what direction we go in. Magical Compass Rai doesn't seem to feel anything in particular either. Are you tired? We've been walking for a while. Why don't we take a break? I nod as I find a seat in the shade. See, we're basically having a picnic after all. I bust out some sandwiches I'd packed earlier. As usual, the castle kitchen knew exactly what flavor we wanted. I can't help feeling a little uneasy though. Despite the delicious meal I'm having, what should be a peaceful place feels wrong. It's too quiet and still. I didn't like that the music was timed so perfectly that it like faded out as soon as I said quiet and still. Sensing my unease, Rai picks up the conversation. Francis, do you realize it's been a year since we first met? It's been so crazy that we missed our anniversary. No! Oh, you're right. We matched on Closed Circle at around this time last year, huh? Time really flies. I can't believe it's already been that long. You were still touring internationally at the time, but you still managed to text me back so quickly. I really was worried that you never slept. I just really liked talking to you is all. It was an instant attraction. Even Virgil was yelling at me to sleep, but I didn't want to say goodbye to you. Even though I was just pixels on a screen to you at that point, I had no idea my texting skills were so attractive. Yeah, I know it sounds strange, but I really can't explain it. And I've only come to love you even more since then. Rai. I lean my head on his shoulder. I never thought I'd be so thankful for a dating app. But, Rai, I'm so glad that we met. Thank you for loving me, and thank you for everything. Very naturally, both of us turn our heads and lean in for a kiss. We wrap our arms around each other, closing the gap between us. Enjoying the warmth, I lay my chin on Rai's shoulder. When I open my eyes, however... Holy shit, what the hell is that? I practically shove Rai off of me in my shock. A few yards away, in the tree line, I see what looks like a human... What? Are you kidding me? Oh, I see what looks like a human head hanging from a tree, as if it's an apple ready to be picked. I can't believe I called that. What on... What? I think I'm going to be sick. Thankfully, Rai stands up and walks in front of me, finally blocking my vision so that I don't have to see it. Francis, I think it's my head? How... Okay, Francis, I think you can tell by the fact that you are here looking for a head and you found a head. I don't, you know... How can you tell? I managed to gasp, fighting back nausea. I don't know, I can feel it. So what are you going to do? I expected Rai to immediately spring for his head, but he's hesitating. Rai? Francis, And just like that, I know. Wait, and just like that, I know. I know what he's hesitating about. I know what I have to say. Oh, please don't give me the decision when Francis is so confident. Like, I love her confidence. Let her keep cooking with it. Don't make me make the hard decision here. I want Rai to be just like that proud Dullahan I saw in my vision. I think deep down, that's what Rai wants too, and he knows it. So I muster up all my courage and stand up, pulling Rai into my arms. Rai, I love you. I love all of you. You don't have to become human to make me happy, because I'm already happy. But he wraps his arms around me, returning the hug, but I can feel his body shaking. You're always trying to protect me. Just now you protected me when you saw how scared I was, to see your head. That's all I need. I pull away so that he can see my face. Don't do this unless you're 100% sure, but I know you're not. You're right. I love you too, but I don't want to be human. I'm scared, Francis. His grips tighten on my hips. Even though your life will be harder because you're with me, harder because of who I am, can we still be together? Yes! I'm not selfish for wanting that. I shake my head and bury it against his chest. Rai, do what makes you happy now. I'll accept you no matter what. Whatever comes our way, we'll handle it together. You said that before and I couldn't believe it, but I understand now. I used to think that speeches like this, said in rom-coms and romance novels, were cheesy. I couldn't imagine ever saying stuff like this or having it said to me. But when you fully love and trust another person, the words just come out naturally. Rai is the only one who's ever made me feel this way, ever let me shake off my inner pessimist. Rai doesn't have to change. I don't have to change. We'll compromise a little, meet in the middle, and grow together. That's all it takes to be happy. Yeah. Let's go home, Francis. And so we leave the orchard, just as we entered it, hand in hand and full of love and hope. Neither of us looked back at his head even once. Let's go! Let's go! Oh, I love that. That was awesome. Oh, the date vanished. Oh, the date's vanished. That's weird. I generally feel like so thrown off because I'm just so used to it always being there. Oh, but no, I loved that. That was awesome. Hang on, I need water. I love, first of all, I love that we actually found his head hanging like an apple. That was awesome. Oh, your emotes are so cute. Oh my gosh. No, I love that we found his head hanging like an apple. I just love how like that entire how that entire scene just played out. From them to like just wandering aimlessly for so long, and then them sitting down and just being happy together, and then that's what like kind of got the head, at least from my interpretation, that's what like got like the head to spawn. Like, hang on, I wanna... Oh, those are like, oh yeah, those are like little cheers. I like slowly like leaning in further and further. I'm trying to not break my neck to look at your emotes. Those are so cute. I love the cheers. And like that being the thing to like get the head to finally like spawn in again from my own interpretation, and like, I don't know. It's hard to describe right now just because it just happened, but it was like just having Rai finally come around on it, like he finally realized what the visions were trying to tell him this whole time, and it was so cool how it was set up like the 5 stages of grief, like, or at least like again, like it seems very much so to be that, before he finally found it, so he had to accept himself essentially before he could find his head. That way he could like actually make like a real decision about it essentially. Like that, I don't know. It was so cool. I love that. But yeah, no, let's just keep on going. I just have a big old smile if you can't tell. I just want to keep reading. Time seems to fly by after that. After spending so long in Ireland, it feels almost weird to go back to K-City, but gradually we fall back into rhythm. Rai unpausing his music career is like a fish returning to the sea, inspired by everything we experienced. He composes a string of hit songs for Dryden. One of them tops the charts for almost a full year before finally being overtaken. He sent my mom and dad a signed LP, and they framed it and put it up above their fireplace. It's super cute. As for me, I couldn't go back to my old job. Mi-Kyung managed to hire someone else while I was gone. Jenna says that they were great at their job, but even if they weren't, I can't be bitter about it. However, Mi-kyung referred me to another position, and now I'm working as a librarian for the local university. I have a lot more duties than before, but I honestly enjoy the hustle and bustle of it. Of course, there are long stretches of boring times when no papers are due, or when students are on break, but I usually keep pretty busy. There's something kind of fun about seeing college students rushing around to get their coursework done. Of course, since I get to be a third party and no longer have to worry about any of that. Yeah, once you're on the outside, it's a lot easier to manage. Hang in there, kids. Anyway, life is good. In contrast to the frenetic pace we kept during our quest to find Rai's head, the day's scents are cozy and warm. I keep busy, Rai keeps busy, and whenever we can, we spend time together. Sometimes we even make it out to Waffle House. As I'm mulling all this over quietly, I hear the clink of a mug being placed in front of me. Looks like Rai's made me some tea. Oh, I love this. Oh my gosh. Thanks, babe. No problem. How was work? It was fine. Same as usual. Oh, the lighting of this is so... It like, as she was like describing it being like cozy and warm, I was like, yeah, and the scene perfectly shows that. It looks so good. Oh, today I ran into a student who remembered me from my old library. It made me feel a little old to see them all grown up. Oof. Well, don't worry. You're aging like fine wine. Or a fancy cheese, or... Okay, I get it. Rai chuckles and then puts his own cup of tea down before throwing an arm around me. For a while, we just chat. About nothing. It's nice. Come to think of it, your birthday's coming up, isn't it? Ugh, don't remind me. I'll be 30 soon. Times like this, I'm reminded that Rai is a few years younger than me. Well, I've made reservations already. You might want to dress nicely that night. Oh, I'll be looking forward to it then. Rai leans over and places a peck of a kiss with his smoke. The scent of pine and my chamomile tea combine to make the atmosphere calm and comforting. Based on all the hints he's been dropping, I have the feeling that another big change to our life might be on the horizon. Oh? Still, I know now that everything's going to turn out just fine with Rai by my side. Oh, that was so cute. The end. Oh, that was awesome. Wait, what do we get? A cozy life. Let's go. That's all I want is a cozy life, and that's what we got. That was awesome. Oh, I love that. That was so freaking cute. Oh my gosh. Hang on. I'm putting stuff down. I'm moving things around. Because I wanna talk and chat a little bit. Hang on. Let's move. Do I want to move us over to the just chatting screen? Maybe I do. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get those two musics mixing together. Let's go like that really quick. Hang on. Oh wait, no. Hang on. Change of plans. Let's go back here, and I kind of want to just take a little look at the extras because I like looking at stuff. Have you checked out the castaways yet? No, I have. I've checked out. How many have I checked out? Hang on. Those are in the extras, right? Hang on. Extras. Cat stories. How many did we do? Oh, I don't remember. Oh no, I didn't. Okay. So my plan was originally to do them as they unlocked, but I kind of fell off of doing that because every single time I'd stream, I'm just like, I just want to keep reading the main story. Oh, but you know what? I think it's this. Yeah, I think we're on this one. So this isn't going to be the last stream for this. Okay, I want to preference that now. Next time, we're going to go through and do all the cat stories, and then we're also probably going to go through and try to get like all the endings and like look at back at like a lot of like the decisions yet, because I'm probably not going to be streaming for too much longer because I do want to like have this be like this is like the end of the route kind of stream, you know, the end of like getting our first ending kind of thing. And then we'll do it at like the next stream as like a little like bonus stream, like getting like everything else like kind of wrapped up essentially. That's the plans. Especially because like these are so much fun. They're so silly and goofy, and I love them. So, but yeah, no, I do want to just like talk a bit about that. But like, I don't know, my brain feels all over the place. I do want to look around a little bit. Oh, there's an ending list. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I only got 2 bad endings. Oh, I did so good. Normally I get like If there are bad endings to be had, I usually get them all the time. But I'll take that. Ooh. They're all fun except the last one. I don't like. Oh, maybe it's just because without a voice trauma speaking. But when you say that they're all fun except for the last one, I'm like, now I'm very worried for both Rai and Francis. So, ooh, but hang on. Ooh. Oh, I love this. I love it when games will just like let you do stuff like this. So this is awesome. But yeah, no. Now I'm a little scared about that ending. Wait. No, I didn't mean to click on the cats. I want to look at the rest of the music room. How do I you know, it makes sense that I probably can't scroll through this. Oh, we've missed a couple. 4, 5. Okay. It looks like some of them are like tied to endings. It looks like with this one being Cozy Afternoon and stuff, everything. Oh, this is so cool. Let's take a little peeksy poo at the art gallery really quick. Oh, look at these. Look at these. Oh, they're so pretty. Look at the boys. Oh, I love this one. I don't know. I'm just very, very content. Hang on, I want to, let's actually, because I want to go over to the just chatting screen, but I also want to keep the music from this going. Music room. Let's do random. What do we get? Okay, let's maybe do a different one. Something a little less sinister while we're talking about how much I love this. Maybe something with less vocals to it. There we go. That works very well. Let's go to the just, hang on, I do want to look a little bit more around here. And then we'll go to the just chatting screen. Sorry, I'm all over the place. My brain is all over. Because I like to go through everything and make sure that I don't miss anything, you know? Wait. V toggle self-voicing? What does that mean? Oh, no. Self-voicing. Oh, a speech synthesizer. Oh, that's real. Why did I could not pronounce synthesizer? That's very cool. That's rad. As soon as I saw self-voicing, I was like, what would that even mean? But that makes a lot of sense. Settings. Yeah, I think for now we're just going to go over to here because I think we've looked around at everything. And let's go ahead and bump. Let's turn off the please be happy for right now. Let's just go ahead and turn that off. Okay, hang on. I'm looking at my... This is from earlier in the stream of me being confused about how my chat boxes work. And I see Twitch here, but that top half is supposed to be YouTube. But then when you come over to... Oh, wrong scene. But then when I come over to this screen, you can see the YouTube chat. I'm so confused. I love OBS. I love all the streaming technical difficulties. Anyway, but yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I was like gonna like, because usually when I like talk about things, I tend to like be like, oh, like here's like a few critiques at first. But like with this, I like genuinely don't know if there's anything I would change. Just because like with everything with how like Rai like the whole ending is like all about like their relationship essentially, and it all plays out like very, I don't know, it all just feels so genuine, which is like one of my favorite parts of like a story is like how genuine it feels, and this feels so genuine. Like the characters feel so like real, and the emotions are just so well like explained. Like everything that Francis was going through while like helping Raya, being like, oh, like I don't know how to like help him outside of saying stuff, and like I'm sure that's helping, but like I wish I could do more kind of stuff. I'm like, that's so valid. Like, and then everything Rai is going through, like nothing about Rai's like arc there felt like forced or anything. Like it all just felt like very like real and genuine, of like, here are all these things like stacking up to make him feel the way that he does. And then it's just sort of like, and then this whole last like quest has just been about like accepting it, you know, dealing with it, being like, yeah, no, this is who I am, I need to be proud of it. It is going to cause like some problems, sure, but like still going with it. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I think the first half is Francis' character. Exactly. That's what I was gonna talk about too. Is like the first half felt very much so like here are like all of, and it even like kind of like ends the same way with both of like the arcs really like ending when they go home, essentially, like when they go back to like where they came from. Like with Francis, like at the first half of the story is very much so like here's Francis, here's her insecurities, here's like her character, what she's going through, what she needs to get through. And then you have Rai, who for a lot of that, like, yeah, like there were like, you know, like tiny, like some time from time to time where like there would be something that Francis would help Rai with, but for the most part it's a lot about like Rai being there and supporting Francis and like helping her get through these things, you know. And then the second half is sort of like the opposite of that, where it's all about like here's Rai, here's his struggles, here's like what he's going through, and then you have Francis who's there to just support him. And I love that. Like, I don't know, just having it like so dedicated to each character, but also not feeling making the other feel smaller. Like at no point during the first half did Rai feel like less significant than Francis, even though it's like mostly about her character. Whereas like, and then this half, get back with the scary music, you know, we'll listen to it. It's fine. But then during like the second half, like again, it's all about Rai and what he's going through, but then it doesn't like make Francis feel any less important to the story. Like it's like not as much about her. I'm glad that came through, because that's, yeah, and you nailed it like so well. Like, I don't know, the fact that that's like what I was like even like getting from like earlier streams and just being like of like, yeah, like this like second half just feels so like Rai focused, but I don't even really realize it until like almost the end of last stream, because I'm like, it still does such a good job at making Francis feel like present and important, very much like a better together kind of thing. Yeah, and that like that comes through so well, because that's like, I had a tiny little hiccup in my throat. That's kind of like, I don't know, like one of the good parts of having a relationship is that you have someone to go through things together with. Like Francis has like all these issues that she's really struggling with, but having Rai there, she has someone to lean on, someone to support her, someone to like keep her like thinking less pessimistically, so then she can help get her through it. And then like this half, it's all about like Rai struggling with things that we've seen him struggle with in the past, but it's just like much more like in the focus, much like stronger now. And it's all like about like Francis being there and helping him get through it, because he wouldn't be able to handle it on his own. So like you said it perfectly. It's almost like you wrote this or something with saying that like better together is like the kind of the theme, because like that's so true. And it just worked out so well. That's why I'm like genuinely sitting here like, I don't know if I would, there's nothing about it that I would change. Like everything, like beginning to end, I was just like, no, that just checks out. That makes so much sense. Like, and like all the music, like listening to like this, I'm like, all the music is so unique. Hang on, I want to look at who did the music. I can see that, right? I can see that from here, just because it's so good. Okay, well, you know, obviously it was Dryden. Dryden did all the music. That's fair, you know. Oh no, there's all the other songs that Dryden didn't do. I do love that all the Dryden songs are like labeled though. Oh, and there's also the instrumentals. Okay, that's so cool. I love that. No, I can't find it here. That's fine. But yeah, no, like all the music, like especially as like we moved like further into like more of like the folk stuff, like it still kept like a lot of this music still kept like a similar like vibe of like, I don't even know what you describe this. Would you describe this like techno? I don't know. I'm not good at music genres and stuff, but like it still kind of kept like this feeling even as we were like moving further away from it. So like it all just feels like, you can find the playlist. I couldn't link it in the stream release because they don't like that. in the Steam release. That's fair. Yeah, no, I have the playlist here. Oh, did you mean like on like YouTube and stuff that you could find the playlist? I'm still sad that we have a few locked though, but we'll see those. We'll see those next time, probably, hopefully. Like everything about this just like feels so unique and well done. Also, the amount of like, I don't know, like folks like I don't know how to describe it, like the fact that like we got to see like a lot of like the folk stuff. Like it wasn't just like something that was like, oh, here it's a story, here's your Dullahan boyfriend, and then that's it. No, we actually got to like meet Virgil, who's a siren, and like we got to go like see like all these like places in Ireland that were all about like the folk essentially, and we got to hear like more about them and like how they work. Like, oh, I don't know, I thought it was just very, very cool and well done. I feel like I'm very scrambled in the brain right now. Like I'm trying to explain why I like it so much. I think the best way to put it is like, oh, thank you, Womp. Yeah, except you can use the cookies. Epidemic sound. Oh, wait. Oop. Oop. Hang on, are these look like different... Hang on. I'm gonna mute this really quick, and we're just gonna play a song really quick. Because, like, these all have different names, but I'm assuming that they're, like, the same things, just with different names. So let's just go ahead and play one of these really quick. Ooh. I hope that this isn't blowing out your guys' eardrums. I didn't, like, test the audio or anything. I didn't even think about that. Hang on. I want to scroll down more. Oh, I love this one called Flu Shot. Hang on. Oh. Yeah, okay, so okay. These are the songs. Oh, you can't hear any of it? Oh, you know what? That's probably a good thing, because without me audio, like, checking the levels and everything, it could have just blown your guys' eardrums out. So, like, that's okay. But yeah, no, it worked, because I was, like, reading, like, the names, like, these don't match up. And then I was playing the song, I was like, okay, no, these are them. So, like, yeah, thank you so much for that. These songs slap so hard, and literally every song, that like new song that started playing during like the lead up to the climax, every single time like they started, I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Oh, but yeah, they were renamed for the game's sake. That makes sense. The Dryden songs I kept the original titles for. Okay, that makes sense. That's really cool though. That I don't know. Just the fact that you found all these songs that like work together so well, and like all have like such a similar like cohesive vibe to it. Again, there was never like a song where I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like something that should be here. But the fact that they're all from like all these different places, that's really cool. But yeah, I think like the best way to like talk about like just, I don't know, why I like it is like we already talked about like it being genuine, but I just like love the characters. Like every single time I'd come back to this, it's like, oh, I'm not like here for like, it took a lot of work and nitpicking. I bet. Oh my gosh. Like, and like the further we moved into the story, I just kept like seeing like how much work went into this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it's so good and so impressive. Like, and the fact that you had to like go through all the songs, like, hang on, did I stopped playing? There we go. Now you guys should be able to hear the music again. Like everything you've had to do for like just like getting those songs and everything that like line up right, and then doing probably like a lot of research for like Ireland and stuff about like, the folk and like Dryden's poem. Like as soon as that like came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like a deep cut to someone. Like the amount of like work and research I had to like go into all this, I'm like, oh, that's so impressive. So kudos to you. But yeah, no, it's so cool. But like again, it's like probably just like about the characters, because like, which is my favorite part of a story. Like I've talked about this a couple times on like other streams and stuff, but like the characters will always be the most important part of any story. Like you could have like the grandest tale of all time, but if I don't like the people that are in it, then I just won't care. So like I love Francis and Rye like so much. Like a good example from this stream is like when the little girl Sophie, she kicked a little bit off of like Dryden's why I keep calling Rai Dryden. You know, he's half of it. He is half of Dryden, it's fine. When she kicked up like Rai's helmet and it came up a little bit, like the amount of like genuine fear that I felt for Rai and like how he would like take that, and like I was just sitting there like almost holding my breath like up until like the little girl was like, oh, thank you, thank you. Then I was like, oh, he's fine, because I was just thinking like, oh, my poor baby boy, he can't handle any more trauma right now. Please don't be mean to him. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't forget this, but in that moment I was like, I forgot. I love these people. And even like the side characters, like Virgil, he's like barely in the story, but he leaves such a strong impression on you. Like his personality is so strong and different from all the other characters. And like that, I think that's a good thing. Like none of the characters feel like obsolete, like they could be replaced by somebody else, essentially. Which like some other stories will fall into, like, oh, these characters are kind of like the same person. You could kind of like just mix their roles and it's fine. But like I loved everyone we've talked to. I love the cats. The fact that I love the cats. Like, listen, I already love cats already, and I was in love with them from the beginning. But then like going through and getting like the cat stories and like seeing like really how they think, I'm like, oh, I love these guys so much. In some years, eventually, Virgil is getting his. He needs it. I'm so down for that, because I'm sitting there like, I still need to know about how him and like the, excuse me, another like little hiccup in the throat, about how him and the person he was texting, how they're doing. I need to know more. It was alluded. Yeah, just listen. I'm already interested in it, because again, him and the person who's texting, like, I need to know the tea. I need to know what's going on there now. I need to see how it all played out in the past. I'm so interested. I think he's probably like the strongest example of the side characters, just because like he was in it more, and like he had like the porch and everything, and he was like in the know of what's going on with Rai, and he did a lot with Francis. So I'm like, he's obviously like, he's my favorite side character, but like him getting his own side story, I'm so here for. But yeah, no, again, there's the fact that I love all the side characters, the main characters, the cats. I love the cats so much. That's why I'm like, I really wanted to like earlier dedicate some time to doing like the cat like stories in the streams, but then, oh no, I'd get too invested in the main story and characters, and then suddenly I've been streaming for like 3 hours and I don't have time to do the cats, essentially. So that's why I kind of like this. I went into this stream being like, I'm not gonna say anything about the cats unless there's time for it, and you know. But then I realized, like, hey, listen, if we're getting to the end, then I want this to be its own ending kind of stream. But I'm really excited to get to the cats next time, just because they're so funny. I think it's more fun to go through all the cat stories in one go. That's so fair. Honestly, we might start them over in that case, because like I don't remember like too much about them, and they're also like not long, you know, like they're pretty short and easy to get through all in one go, so I'll probably just do that, especially since it's just going to be, outside of that, it's just going to be a lot of going through, hitting that good old skip button and getting to like a bunch of the other endings. So because the goal is to get all of them, or at least do my best, you know. Like, oh, I do have the guide though, so if I ever get stuck, then we can just do that. So I was gonna say, like, if I can't get one, I'm going to keep trying till I get it, but I do have the guide if we ever get stuck, so that works out. But yeah, no. And then like all of the art, like, I don't know, it's Adi Rosa art, and everything they put out is just gold. I love it. And the oh, I didn't even talk about how cool the backgrounds are. Like when there's the Dullahan like portrait that came out, not in portrait or anything, like when just like the picture of the Dullahan came up, and I was like, oh, this looks so freaking awesome. Like all of the backgrounds look so cool. That's just another thing, like how just unique I feel like this is compared to like other visual novels, and the backgrounds do such a good job of that, of being like, here's these really unique backgrounds that still look incredible. Yeah, the guy just hints rather than a full-on walkthrough too if needed. Yeah. That's kind of I kind of maybe cheated a little bit when I think I got my second bad end. I took a little peek at the walkthrough and realized, oh no, I've been the worst girlfriend to Rai. I have like, even if I pick this, like make a couple of good decisions, we'll still break up. I can't do that. So I had to start all the way over, and then I picked all the good choices up to the point of that good ending, and then we could proceed from there. And I was good to him ever since. I wasn't being mean to him on purpose though. It was all accidental. But yeah, no. Yeah, no, I do like the idea as the using the hints instead, because I like my thought with like games like that. I like to use as little of like guides as I can, but I've also realized that I also have very little patience when it comes to games, specifically if they're like obtuse. Like if it's a sort of like, oh, how was I supposed to know how to do that kind of moment, that's where I get impatient. Whereas like if there are like hints in the game or like in like the walkthroughs and stuff, I'm like, I'm fine doing that. I don't need to look up all the answers. I don't need to know everything. But yeah, I think that basically covers everything. Oh, hang on. Really quick, I like doing these little progress checks. I'm going to exit out really quick of this. And then I'm going to, let's just go ahead and I want to open the game back up because I love seeing the progress bar increase because I love making progress. Sometimes I think once you understand the writer's design philosophy, everything, yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of, that might have been like where I was struggling in the, oh, we're at 86%. Let's go. Progress. Like, I think that one of the reasons like I was struggling in the beginning was because like I didn't understand like exactly what you're saying, like the philosophy and like the writer's design and everything. Whereas like once I like really got into the groove of it, like 3 or 4 streams in, I was like, okay, no. Based on like Francis and Rai and the situation, and like the way it's like all written, I think that this is the right option kind of thing. And I was still trying to like, part of me wanted to incorporate more of like what I would do, but part of me also wanted to incorporate like, because like it's not like Francis is a self-insert character of any sorts. Like she's so very strongly her own character, like, you know. So I wanted to try and pick decisions that she would also make and not just have it be based on me, essentially. Like when you said I want to support him, but not 100%. That's good. Yeah, blind faith isn't usually the best option. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I try to like. I don't know. I almost like try to emphasize that while we were playing through, was like, again, it being Francis and her character, and not only when I was making those decisions of supporting him but not going in 100% was because that's how not only I feel, but I felt confident in those answers because I was sure that's how Francis would approach it, essentially, at least from like all the decisions that we had been making up to that point and the way her character was going. That's like the decisions I felt she would be making, which made it a lot better. Like, what was it? The decision that had me really up in a tizzy. Hang on. Was it this one? Yeah, this one. I'm not showing you guys what I'm talking about. Hang on, let's move back over really quick. Yeah, this one. The problem is everyone else, and the biggest issue is self-acceptance. This was a very much. This is where I trusted in Francis, because like if it was me, this is kind of how I feel like I would feel more about it. Of being like, I don't think that you should change yourself for other people, especially when their prejudice or fear of you is kind of their problem, essentially, you know? Like, it's not, you're not the problem here. So like if it was just me, that's what I would have said. But then I was like sitting like thinking like, okay, but like what would Francis do, you know? WWFD, what would Francis do? And so I was like, I think between me leading, like being 50-50 on these two, I felt like Francis would pick this one, so that's what I did. And I think we got a great ending because of it. So it all turned out really well. I'm just so happy that we got a good ending, because I always get bad endings on things my first time through. Like, I played a lot of Fate, I'm on the last route of that, and I think I've hit almost every single bad ending you can get in that. See, that's definitely one where I don't understand how it was written, like the writer's philosophy, because I'll try to be like, oh, well, I feel like the character would like this is like the right decision for them, and I also agree with it, so that's probably the right option, and then I end up being like tortured or something. It's a good time. for sure. Let's go back to the title really quick. There we go. This main menu theme's such a bop, dude. I always play visual novels with guides. Lol, I don't have time to experiment with choices. Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm sure you can tell from my 15 pages of say. Oh wait, 16 pages of saves is because I'm very kind of like in that like middle ground essentially of like I want to get through it on my own because I love like the decision making. Like you're so based for that, for like how you go about it. I forgot where the music room was. I don't know how I did that, but you know we're fine. You're so real for that. But like that's why I do so many saves, because it's like, okay, oh, I made this one wrong choice. Well, I guess I'm about to go back like instantly. To be honest, there's only 3 saves per page, so you're not really doing too bad. Yeah, again, like bringing up like Fate again, I think I had like 40 saves on the end of the first route, which is about like, it's like a good like 20-25ish hours per route. But I do be saving a lot. Again, I save it almost every single time there is a decision to be made, so then I can like sort of do like, again, like the middle ground of like, I want to make my decisions. And then, but then if I mess up, oh no, I at least lost like 30 seconds. Oh no. Also, I do love seeing, like, I love seeing like all, like as much as I can of like any given thing. Like without a voice, like I think I got all of the endings, and then I think it was Addy who was telling me that no one's seen like 100% of like that game, which is crazy, by the way. I think that's so fun. That it's like a game that just no one's like even like going through all the endings, no one's seen like all of the dialogue for. But I was like doing my best because I'm like, that's just the type of person I am. If I really enjoy a story or like a visual novel, especially because like, you know, you can't really do this with like other kinds of stories of like seeing like you don't need to like try and like see everything. Usually like most things will be like, oh, like here's our story, you know. We think it's impossible. That's so funny to me, by the way. Like there's a part of me that wants to ask like, how do you get it? Because I'm sure if there was anyone who could answer that better than anyone else, it would be you. But even if you think it's impossible, then it's like, I guess no one really knows. Wave has oh my gosh, Wave is so fun. Wave is such a good time. Like I think it was Nue who like, we were doing like some stuff with like the Bellflowers, like the Bellflower Relay, and they were reading it on their stream, and I was like, ooh, I know we're not going to get to, but I need to get to like one of her endings so bad. And I don't think we get it in that stream. I think it was the next stream after that. But I was just like, it has so many variations, and it's so fun to like go through and see all of them, and just like seeing people's reactions to it. It's so cool. Like it's also just like such a unique way, because like on one playthrough it's like not that long, but then once you realize that there's like 10 endings and it's all about like going back and trying to get all of them and seeing like because you never learn any, like you don't learn even like, I feel like half of like the information in that one on just like one playthrough. So like if you only do like one playthrough, you're like left so in the dark of like the story, you know? So like you really need to go back through and play that one. So that was the one that I had a great time like going back through and like getting all of those endings. It's so cool. But yeah, no, it's so many variations. And like even like when I was like going through and like getting endings that were only one decision off and there were like multiple changes in it, I was like, oh, this is rad. And that's what I love about like games where you can make decisions where the decisions actually like matter, is like seeing all those like little changes to it throughout, and then when you get like obviously like the bigger changes. Yeah, Wave develops a lot with each. Yeah, exactly, because it's like, oh, you don't know a lot about like Cassidy's brother, and you don't really understand a lot about Elowen, and you don't really know a lot about like everything like going on like with like her kingdom and everything. But then with each playthrough, you're like, oh, here's more about Elowen, here's more about Cassidy, here's more about her brother, here's like more about like the curse. You know, you learn so much different information per playthrough that like if you don't play through all of it, you're doing yourself like a disservice essentially. Like if you play through one and you liked it, there's no reason you shouldn't play through the rest, is essentially what I'm like trying to say. Because like there are definitely some games where I'm like, I like that, not enough to play through it a second time to get a different ending. I think I'm good. But with that one, it's like I have literally no reason to not just like keep going for the endings. And with this one, the head well lost. That's kind of exactly how I feel the same way. Obviously, like it's a, you know, it's like a little bit longer than Without a Voice, but it's still like definitely one that like all the endings are definitely like worth going back through, because like again, I just love these characters so much, and like everyone around them and like everything that they're dealing with is like so interesting. So I just want to see like all these different sides to them, because like with how many other endings there are, and especially like ones that like the end of the story, it's just like there are so many more. I feel like there's just so much more to these characters to get, which is very exciting, because I already feel like there's like so fully fledged essentially. The game I'm working on now is kind of like that to an extreme. That is exciting. So look forward to it. Also, in a few years. Okay, that's so fun. I can't like listen. The more I'm like learning about like the process of like making a visual novel, especially one that does have like routes and multiple choice and everything, like it probably takes like so long. I can't even imagine. Like I've always wanted to like make a visual novel. It's just something I haven't done yet. And I, like so, but the more I've looked into it, the more I go like, I respect these people so much. They are putting in so much work. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's gonna take a few years. That's totally fine. Because it's probably gonna be great. So so it'll be well worth the wait. But yeah, no, I think that's probably actually all. I realize I said that a few times, and then I kept going, because that's how my brain tends to work. Listen, I'm sure you could pick that up after literally a single stream is like, oh, I start a thought, and then 5 other thoughts interrupt that thought, and then I'll eventually loop back around to that first thought at some point in the near future. So, but thank you so much for coming out and like doing this. It's so fun, like especially like getting like the ending with you, and thank you so much for everyone else who watches this in the present and in the future. Thank you all so much for watching and being here with me tonight. I had a great time. This was awesome. I appreciate you getting these thoughts and reactions. That's awesome. I'm glad I could do that for you, because again, I know I said it 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more times. This was incredible. I between this and Without a Voice, like I love your writing and its style and the way you write characters and like everything so much. So thank you so much, and I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. I again, the best of times. So with all that being said, I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one.